Hey, it's me, the modern day Michelangelo, Marquis Qydell, and you're listening to the Rain and Rock podcast. Like, subscribe, follow, support, or else, well, we don't got to go that far now, do we? Because you're going to listen.
And that is right, people. If wrestling is a game, excellence is the name, and I am, you know it, the man himself. I am Ricky Goldman. So, plenty to talk about this action-packed edition of the Rainy Rock podcast. Do like and subscribe. Sorry we're going a bit late. We are a bit late, but we're going to kick things off with an interview. So let me bring in the man himself, the man of the hour, former tag team champion, hardcore champion, manager of the year, the man himself. He, Marquis, Qydell.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay, and how are you? How are you tonight or today?
I am.
Daytime in.
It is. It is daytime, and I'm doing well. Thank you. How was everything? It's night over there, correct?
We've got no TJ tonight. 9:15 p.m., but it's fine. So no TJ tonight. Unfortunately, he's got COVID, so you'll get well soon and join us next week. But I'm not alone here. Bring in the money man himself. He is Mark.
Ching, ching, bling, bling. It's always money over
I'm
here.
waiting for you catch. That is right. And how are you today?
I'm all right, man. You know, just a day in the suburbs of Philly, man.
Oh, you're in Philly.
Yeah.
I used to live in Broad Allegheny.
That is right. The home of ECW.
Rapping north.
ECW. So please, everybody, do like, subscribe, get your comments in, and any questions you've got. So let's kick this off. So I ask every wrestler that comes on here just a general few questions, and that is, how long have you been watching wrestling? What got you into wrestling? And who's your favorite of all time?
So, according to my family, I started watching with my uncles the day I came home. My earliest recollection of being a wrestling fan, I would have to say as early as 4. And I remember being intrigued by wrestlers with face paint. So, the Papa Shangos, the Stings, the Ultimate Warriors, were kind of intriguing to me. Because it's like, dude, why? Like, as a kid, you don't understand what's going on, but why are their face different? Like, why every week Sting faces a different color in his matches? Like, or why does this guy have like a white face with red stripes? And that kind of captivated me. As weird as it sounds, it captivated me and it hooked me in. And then I just became like an all-time Sting fan. I was a huge Sting fan up until I got my first taste of the Great Muta and Jushin Liger, and I was just like all in. And Ultimate Dragon, I was just all in from there. And that was your questions? I'm sorry.
Some great picks right there. Yeah. And I've said this before, but for nearly 25 years, and my all-time favorite. So, what got you into being a fan? Was it just you find, like you said, do you find the characters intriguing, or were you sat with your
I
family
found
watching, or you were, or for sports
so
four,
it
the
was
earliest be at school, but
so it was my family watching the intrigueness, and then I remember specifically my granddad. Shout out to my granddad Julius. He he took the whole neighborhood to a WCW show, and I remember the main event being Ricky Steamboat and Rick Rude for the U.S. title inside of a steel cage. But for it to be a house show, like every match was action packed. I mean, we had the Steiner brothers against Beautiful Bobby and R. Anderson, which kind of got me into looking back at some of Bobby Eaton's work as a tag team. Like I ended up becoming um intrigued with tag team wrestling a lot. So that one house show right there was my grip. Like, okay, now I'm in. And then 2 weeks later, WWF had a show, and I got to see the Ultimate Warrior, Papa Shango, as I mentioned earlier, the Beverly Brothers, and then the Road Warriors. So it was like, okay, this isn't what I seen last week. This is a little bit more thrilling. They got a lot more characters over here. So I like this brand more for the aesthetics of I can see a lot of characters, but I can go to WCW to see a lot of good wrestling. So once I started watching the Steiner Brothers and a lot of
very
WCW um programming, early WCW. Let me say that, y'all. Early WCW. It was like, okay, I can do this. Like, this is what I want to do. This is it.
I remember I wasn't much of a WCW fan, but I watched bits. But it was then, so WCW pay-per-views on the network. So yeah. So you sorry, you yourself, of course, are a wrestler. You wrestle for MCW, Maryland Championship Wrestling, if I've got that correct.
Yes, B.
So um, you so you won some titles there. Like I said, Hardcore Champion, Tag Team Manager of the Year. So
That was all.
what got
So that
you into
so those.
yourself into
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
wrestling?
So the accomplishment and the championship all came
What got
from
yourself into
BEWA.
competing? And
Wait, is he breaking up on your end,
sorry,
or is it just me?
I apologize.
Oh, okay.
So it's
just
like it's lagging behind.
Yeah. You didn't win the titles in Maryland Championship Wrestling, but you still won them. So what got you into wrestling yourself, and what was it like holding championship goals?
So when I got older, I was able to go to wrestling shows with my uncle, and my uncle had introduced me to Maryland Championship Wrestling. It was one of the first times I ever went to like independent companies. And it was very hands-on. It was up close, personal. And I was like, yo, like once I get older enough, this is something I want to try out. Fast forward to me finally turning 18, I had to talk with my mom, my stepdad, and I told him like, hey, this is what I want to do. So I ended up training at Eastern Wrestling Alliance School, which was the Pain Factory. And then I did some tryout tests for Bone Breakers, which was MCW. Bone Breakers was a lot more intense and also at the time a lot more expensive. So I ended up going back to EWA. I did some time there as a ring announcer for some of their like not major shows. It was more so like the training shows for wrestlers who were up and coming just to protect their craft and everything. So I did ring announcing there, and then I ended up doing some way somehow. I can't remember exactly how. I want to say I went to an MCW show out Michael's 8th Avenue, and I ended up talking to I want to say Tara at the time about becoming a street team member. And
I think you've got a shout out in Way of Kelvin.
Yes, that is my nephew, the upper echelon Calvin, who is also in the DMV, and he just had his first professional match a few months ago. So I'm showing him the ropes, and be on the lookout for him soon.
Well, good luck.
As he'll be in Philly as well. So Neff, I love you. Yeah, he's definitely one to look out for. So yeah.
Well, good luck, Kelvin, and I wish you all the luck in the future. So I hope you win as many championships as your uncles won.
Thank you. So yeah, I started training, doing street team with MCW. So we would set the rings up, and if we had set the rings up enough time before they would let the fans in, they would let us run around the rings and do bumps and just do certain stuff like that. And I ended up doing 6 months with MCW, but I was a jobber there, so it wasn't nothing too spectacular. The experience was fun, but it's nothing to really say like, oh yeah, I was a MCW superstar. BEWA is kind of where I shined at. I had got introduced with a guy named Van Williams. He wrestles up and down the East Coast. Mark, I'm not sure if you heard of him. He wrestles up and down the East Coast for DTW and everything, and he had needed a manager, and he was just like, he had just became a heel. So I ended up being his manager for a while. Me and Vam ended up pulling a Rico and Rikishi storyline. Yeah, so we ended up pulling a Billy and Chuck. And because I was a manager, I really wasn't a wrestler, and I got super kicked into a pin. So we held the belts for a mere 36 days. And then after the match, I got my first screw job, and BW was backwards. That was supposed to have been Vam turning face. I'm sorry, Vam staying heel. But because I was such a good manager, Vam turned face, and I ended up going with a group called the Enterprise. Now, the Enterprise were like the NWO of independent wrestling down there. They had the women's belt. They had just regained the tag team belts. They had the US belt and the world belt. So why not be with them? So I ended up managing everyone in the Enterprise and became the manager champions. And they had this 24/7 hardcore championship rule. It was like a gauntlet match. And I pulled the Hornswoggle. Hornswoggle pulled the Hornswoggle. And when the bell rung, I was actually in there. So I was actually able to hold the hardcore belt for a minute and a half before I got the shit head on me with a steel chair.
I don't know if Mark's got any questions, but I've got another one, and then I'll let Mark ask if he wants.
Yeah, by all means.
Mickey James, Lita, the Hardys, Adam Cole, they all started at MCW. So have they given you any advice? Did they visit MCW and talk to the trainees, talk to the upcoming, or not?
Adam Cole did. I met Adam when he was going by Adam Carell when he first started, and Adam was just like this, he was just this cool dude. And at the time, he was still chasing his. Like Adam was still unknown. And he was the EWA Cruiserweight champ at the time. Yes, Adam was a Cruiserweight champ. And he was like this Panama City playboy. Like he was the good guy. Like he was the ladies' man who had Mia Yim. Because I don't know if y'all follow with CZW, but Mia Yim was his manager. And shout out to me as well. I love her. He used to talk to the people like up and comers and just give them the best advice ever. They never give up speeches. But I do remember Adam saying, "You can't go for any dream if you're not if you're not willing to run the race." So that always stuck by me.
Very true. I've mentioned this before. I think I did 2 months of wrestling training, and just thought, this is not for me. It hurts. The warm up, I was tired with the warm up. I just thought I want to be and watch. So, but at least So there is that.
So let me ask you a question, if you don't mind.
Sorry?
Did you like running the ropes?
Okay. It was fun, but it hurts. So not really.
Running the ropes is
I was
is a
tired
pain.
of the one very intense. I was just like, ugh, if this is what they have to go through. If this is what you have to go through to be a wrestler. Thank you. So have you got any questions? So I'll pass it over to you.
All right. So I guess my first question is like, what's your schedule like? Like, what's your schedule like as far as like booking yourself? If you are the one in charge of booking, booking yourself at different promotions and stuff.
Nowadays or back then?
Both.
Now, so I'm not sure Rick yet. So I stepped away for a while. But I am back in training. So my schedule is pretty open. I've been doing street team and behind the scenes work for CZW as a late for the state for Maryland, for their shows. So my pretty much my schedule is open, but back then my schedule was still open because it was so. The independent show down here was months apart, and I wasn't driving, so getting to other states besides Philly, would have been hard for me at the time. And then I still had a strict mom who with the whole overprotective thing.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It was. I was young. She was overprotective. I'm trying to find this picture with me and Dakota show y'all. I was young. She was overprotective. I'm her firstborn. And it just wasn't flying with her. It's bad enough I'm already getting body slammed around. I was skinny, like I was not this size at all. I was skinny, so she was, oh, my baby. Yeah, it wasn't flying for
her. I can only imagine because it's like, no, you can't go super far away to get booked and stuff. What are you doing?
Yeah, like, no. What do you mean you're going through a table this week? Like, what? Yeah, so.
I was just gonna say that it must be hard for any parent to watch because every fan knows it's not real. So let's strip back the curtain, but still, it still hurts. You're still going through a wooden table. You're still bumping on a steel ring with tiny padding. So. It can't be good for any parent seeing your child do that because injuries happen and
you can get the hell kicked out of you.
So you mentioned, I'll call it CZ. Sorry.
And you can get the hell kicked out of you.
Yes. You mentioned, I'm going to call it CZ or CZ or CZW. They go over here. I think it was CZW, XW, whatever the Germans that gone through
WXW
there and beyond. They all came together to do a show. That I think it was a good thing you were there called Ludwig Kaiser, Marcel Bartel. I met him. So they all came together to do a show here with another UK company. So I've seen, you could say that I've seen CZW, Zachary Wentz, and he was called Desmond Xavier back then, wasn't he? Wesley. They were there, so I'm familiar with CZW, but I'm also doing stuff for my liking. But what was it like?
I just started
wrestling at
So
CZW?
I just started.
Enjoy it?
No, I haven't wrestled for them yet. I just do. No. So
Or-
I just do street team for them now. I just do street team. I haven't wrestled for them officially as of yet. I'm just getting back in. I'm just doing street team and behind the scenes work with them. But the crazy thing is, I've known DJ since MCW days. Because DJ was one of the up and coming wrestlers. Well, let me not say up and coming. DJ's one of the top wrestlers there. And MCW and CZW would run shows at the same time. So if MCW had a show at, let's say, 6 p.m., CZW show was 9 p.m., so a lot of CZW wrestlers would come to Baltimore to work to rush back to Philly to Jersey by 9 p.m. to do that show. Or they would rush to Delaware to do that show. So I actually already had a good rapport with DJ. And, nowadays I'm just getting Merlin ready for CZW. We actually have a show next Saturday at the Power Plant here in Baltimore.
Very, very cool. So go over to get like that. Pass it over to Mark in a second, but just one kind of not a final question, but another question is obviously John Moxley. He wrestled for CZW, so have you met him and has he given or not?
No, I haven't met John until I went to an AEW show.
Fair enough. I've got more questions about AEW in a second. I don't know if you're allowed to ask sessions of the ring, but
hey, listen, we love AEW over here. That's Botchmania for me.
Is that the picture with the Adam Cole?
More questions?
No, this is when I worked RCW for a night, and I had Joe Gacy, Kimberly, Alex Payne, and I was young.
Joe Gacy, wow.
Good, yeah.
Oh yeah, was he called Joe Gacy? Oh, always been called Joe Gacy, hasn't he?
Yes, Joe is one of the lucky ones who did not get his name changed.
But Mark.
Yeah, Joe did not get his name changed, which is cool. I'm supposed to pick in the group so I can pay attention to you. I feel like it's rule.
Mark, any more questions?
I do. Hold on, man.
Yeah.
Jeez. So, because you mentioned your schedule back then, and you just spoke on it, and I guess I'm going to hear it from your own perspective. Like you kind of told us that like your mom was definitely not with you trying to travel too far up the Northeast corridor, but how would your how chaotic did your schedule ever get? Like, were you ever wrestling 2 shows in one day?
No.
Okay.
I was lucky. No, I've never done. Wait. Yes, BEWA and XMW have ran a show that ended up. Hey, thank you. BWA and XMW had ended up running the show. BWA was at 12 p.m. XMW I started at like 6 p.m. and I ended up working both shows. I was a manager one show, wrestling another show. And C3W. Well, no, that wasn't the same day. They just had like a long ass show from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay. Damn, that is a long ass show.
Yeah.
Was it a super card?
No. So down Baltimore, we have this thing called the AFRAM, and they had ended up getting so they ended up breaking history because no wrestling promotion has ever done AFRAM. So they ended up getting a slot from 12 to 6, and Richard, who was the owner, was like, "Yo, we got 12 to 6 slot." Like, oh, okay.
That's a long
12 to 6.
That's a long ass slot to have. So you say you do like the street crew, like that's like the ring crew, correct?
Sorry.
Yes.
What is that experience like to work on the ring crew? Because I don't think a lot of people like we interview wrestlers a lot on this program, but never really ring crew people. So like, what's that process like?
So let's take ring crew out of it real quick, and let's just focus on street crew as a whole. If that's cool with you, because I can give you the whole experience.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Street cool. Streets are
cool.
The streets are cool, kids. The street crew is kind of like the backbone of the show because everyone thinks that the street crew is just people who wants to get into the shows or just want to get known. Like you have some of your world heavyweight champions who are street crew members. You have some featured guests. Like I remember down at MCW, Melina was a street crew member. So she was at Walmart handing out flyers, giving away comp tickets. She was helping set up the ring. Like she was also paying. Like street crew is nothing but paying your dues. That's all it is. I promise you. To set up the ring, however, one is tedious as hell. But it's an honor because not everyone is allowed to touch the ring. It's and Ricky, I'm not sure if they told you this, or Mark, I'm not sure if you went to wrestling school, but touching the ring the ring is like a sacred playground. Like, if any of y'all ever seen? Oh, I can't even think of a movie right now, but yeah, it's like sacred. Like,
well, I have heard that it's sacred. That's why a lot of wrestlers wipe their feet before they enter.
So that, and also because you never know, like walking to the ring, what's going to get on the bottom of your foot.
Right. But I definitely know about the secrecy, wiping, the whole wiping your feet thing. I saw it on a video somewhere, and Mark Henry was speaking about it. He said he spoke about when Regan doing it, and that's why he incorporated it too. So though I've never been to wrestling school, I do know of some things.
Yeah. Wiping your feet is like EWA teaches it more. You kind of get
that is sacred.
Yeah, like if you don't wipe your feet at EWA training, and I'm not sure if they still do this now, but everyone who's there chops you. You get 5 chops from each person up there.
Oh God, no.
Hi, Mom.
Is this your? I would like to have 1 chop, never mind 5. Ugh, no, thank you.
Yo, so
it doesn't sound. That doesn't sound fun. No,
it's a guy named
no.
It's a guy named Ruckus who's CZW, MCW, EWA. He's wrestled at BRCW, and like his chops are, woo.
Something you don't want to indulge in all the time, huh?
Respectfully, I would take a chop before Gunther before I would take one from Ruckus.
That tells me a lot.
Gunther.
That tells me a lot. That tells me a lot.
No.
I would take a chop from Gunther in the heartbeat.
When he
over Ruckus, Gunther me.
Blood and just...
Over Ruckus, Gunther me in the heartbeat.
Me, no, but
no exact.
No, for me, Hornswoggle can chop me.
So that's funny. I don't think a lot of people know. I don't think a lot of people know Hornswoggle actually has a chop.
I guess we just didn't see it.
Yeah, nobody never got. But yeah, Horns got a chop on him.
You learn something new every day, kids. Remember that.
Fair enough.
It is not about the size of the person.
I don't know how much you're allowed to talk about.
No, go ahead.
If you're allowed to talk about AEW or not, you said you do street crew. I'll
yeah.
Ring
so
crew
I can. So
is that?
Yeah. So I'm not street team right now with AEW, so I can talk about them.
So is a TV different from an indie show doing a TV production, or is it the same? Is it all set up the same, or is it you have to set it up different for the cameras?
Wait, repeat that question again because you were going out.
If a ring, is it set up a ring in AEW the same as an indie show, or because you've got the cameras to think about and it's not
the same setup
to production? Well, but he said production. Is it exactly the same? Fair enough.
So it's the same setup. Ring goes first.
More of an honor there because that's AEW.
Honestly, no. No. Because independent and I'm not
Really?
trashing and
Find out.
I'm not trashing AEW. I'm not shitting on AEW. I'm not doing none of that. But it's more of an honor on the independence because it's more of a family feel. Like I put family before anything. MCW, AEW, back when we were doing like little small stuff for Ring of Honor when they first started out here, like those were all families. And yeah, it's cool doing stuff for AEW, but like I get more memories out of doing stuff for genuine people, and that's the most I'm gonna say about that.
Mm. That's an
Yeah,
important thing that you
I do
spoke on.
love indie stuff.
That's an important thing that you spoke on. You know, the indie scene, especially if you're local to that area, you know, I mean, you build a rapport with people,
Yeah, you're a
obviously, right?
celebrity.
Mm.
I can say this. Joey Matthews, who went on to be Joey Mercury, was a bigger celebrity, in my opinion, before he got signed.
Mm.
When he was Joey Matthews teaming up with Kristen York, they were like they were huge. And not in the sense of money and worth, but in the sense of they were more genuine. Well Joey was more genuine, more hands-on. Like I get when she became WWE, that changes a lot, but yeah.
Mm.
Your rapport wealth is way more than anything.
One half of J&J Security. J&J Security, remember those?
I do, and wasn't he with Punk
They
for a
were awful
while?
security, awful,
Was he?
awful.
He was in
He was with Punk.
the straight ass
Yes, he was
society.
part
Yes,
of the edge.
He was with
yes.
Punk for a bit.
So you, which is a massive name, probably maybe should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if the Hall of Fame means anything. Melina should probably be there. So what's Melina like? And is she nice in person, or what was your
Melina,
impression of meeting Melina?
So it was ladies' night. Melina, Victoria, and Mickey James, sweethearts. Mickey is a goofball, a major goofball. Which we don't get to see a lot on TV because they don't show up. But she's real. Out of all three of them, Victoria, sweetheart, biggest one, hands down. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say this right now, and I'm not sure who's listening. Mickey James and Victoria for the Hall of Fame. Nothing against Melina. I don't think she's WWE Hall of Fame worthy. Mickey and Victoria, I do. My reasons for that: Mickey brought a new edge to WWE. When she first came, that whole psychotic storyline was top tier. Like I feel like that was one of the first women's storyline that everyone was kind of hooked on. Victoria, innovative. No one ever seen the widow speak before she did it. Ever. No one seen passion in women's wrestling until like she brought it. So yeah, them two hands down.
I've been very lucky enough to meet. I'll start again. I go to a wrestling convention here in the UK. It's called Love of Wrestling. I met Victoria, I think it was last year or the year before, and I've also been lucky enough to meet Mickey James twice. And yeah, both really nice women. Yeah, both should be in the Hall of Fame. If the Hall of Fame means anything, which is 50, then yeah, they both should go in.
Yeah. I also feel like Michelle should go in.
So what is the future for Qydell? Would you want to?
So
Michelle, the cool, yeah. Is it what's the future, AEW or WWE? Which would you prefer to go to?
If I had to choose, neither one. Neither.
Okay.
Japan me today. Japan me.
What's the reasoning behind that?
Okay, then. Fair enough.
Your career skyrockets more when you're in Japan. Especially if you're not from there, like to be an international superstar, a mega superstar, it's more rewarding than working for AEW. Like I would do appearances at AEW, hands down. But for me, Japan is different. The culture, the living, the life, like, and over there, wrestling is appreciated. Wrestling is appreciated. I don't care what no one says. Japan and Mexico, wrestling is appreciated. Wrestling is, especially in Mexico, wrestling is up there with becoming a lawyer, a doctor. No, I'm sorry, neither WWE or AEW.
That's fine, but you are right. It's like you never hear about a Japanese person or a Mexican person saying, "Oh, this company is awful." You hear complaining how bad, how bad it's been, or how bad WWE is at the moment. But yeah, you don't hear anything bad about New Japan, or is it AAA that El Del Rio's in? I'm not too familiar with Mexican wrestling, so
I think
it's AAA,
he's in
isn't it?
AAA. Yeah, he's in AAA because CMLL does not win them. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he just like return last night or something?
I'm not too sure. I don't follow anything outside
nickname
of
of
the
Dolph Ziggler for the title. Yeah.
Yeah, he returned last night to beat Dolph.
Wow.
Which I kind of get because Dolph just won the TNA belt. So.
That's as much as I follow.
He's gonna be overbooked, and
yeah,
AAA don't need that.
Yeah, as much.
So, Mark, question: you're in Philly, correct?
Yep. Well,
did you go to
Philly area, and sadly, no, I ain't have the money for that.
I went to my first Mania this year, and
it is a lot of money, isn't it?
So my night one ticket was $135, and my night two was $235.
How early did you buy those tickets?
I brought them a week before Mania.
Wow. Okay.
I brought them a week before Mania because I wasn't sure if I was going or not.
So everything, Hall of Fame, Stand and Deliver, Raw, SmackDown.
Okay, so
just WrestleMania.
I'm glad you asked that. I did not do the Hall of Fame or SmackDown because I went to Ring of Honor. I did go to Stand and Deliver. I did go to Raw. I did go to both Mania nights. However, I was also drained because I learned something about Mania week that I've already known it, but I've learned it. I learned it. Mania week starts on Monday. Okay? For those who know, or for those who are listening that do not know, there are literally 147 plus wrestling shows going on Mania week. Every venue that was a venue that could be a venue in Philadelphia had a wrestling show. It got to the point where they had a wrestling show inside of a skate park for free because there was nowhere else to go. I went to GCW, which is Game Changer Wrestling, for a show, and y'all can laugh at this. The slot for the show was 12 a.m. Like bell time was 12 a.m.
Midnight.
And they had a show every night of Mania week with a full packed house. The show's not ended until like 3 a.m. So they had a show that Friday, and Saturday I hated my life. Because the show ended at 4 a.m. Shout out to GCW because I enjoy GCW. They had an event that night for the culture. Shout out to Marsha Slamovich that weekend as well. Her and Raina went to a 35-minute time limit. Alex Kane put on a hell of a show, but that show ended at 4 a.m. and I had to be back up at 10 a.m. so I can get things done for Stand and Deliver and night one of WrestleMania.
Whew.
After night one of WrestleMania, guess who had another show?
GCW have another one?
GCW had another show tonight at the WrestleMania. So I did not see my bed until 5 a.m. that Sunday morning. Got a little bit of sleep, but I still had to go and do what's up, gang? I still had to go do WWE The World. The World is one of them things where it's like, yo, I'm glad I don't got kids. I don't gotta wait in line until you hit the line. So that was also tedious. And then after The World, what time is it? It is 2 p.m. What do we have to do? Rush to the hotel, get ourselves ready, and go to Mania. Which hotel am I staying at? The Sheraton. This is where it gets crazy.
The downtown Sheraton?
Yes. So anybody knows about the downtown Sheraton? Know that it's a good hotel. And what were they hosting there? WrestleCon.
Yep.
They're hosting WrestleCon.
Zero rest.
So
you got zero rest.
I did not get back to the stadium for WrestleMania until 6 p.m. Luckily, it was no pre-show matches. Luckily. So yeah, that's about as tedious as it was for WrestleMania. So next year in Vegas, I know what to do. Next year in Vegas, I know how to maneuver and everything.
It's literally a week-long event. Like during that week, I met Rob Van Dam down at the Loft Casino.
He had got inducted to the Hall of Fame this year.
No, it wasn't this year that he was.
The for 2300.
Oh, okay. Right, okay.
Yeah, him, Sabu, the Dudley Boys, Bill Alfonso, Rhino, Joe Gertner, Joey Styles, all got inducted this year into the 2300 Hall of Fame. Actually, when I was running out of my hotel, I ended up seeing Sabu and got a quick picture with him.
Also, that week I went to
RVD in the TNA Hall of Fame. Isn't so we make it?
I know the Dudleys are in the TNA Hall of Fame. I'm not 100% sure about.
I know Abyss is.
But do y'all know who will be in the Hall of Fame very soon?
RVD may or may not be.
Me, duh.
That was a good one.
Yes.
That was clever.
Yes, I can officially say, for those who do not know, I think I talked to Mark and Ricky earlier. I can officially say now, yes, I'm back in training. Yes, I will be returning to the ring next year after the Chris Jericho cruise. And yes, I will be debuting at C3W next year. That is my goal. It is someone on the East Coast that is turned.
You mentioned GCW. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just saying there's somebody that's been turning shit up on the East Coast that I need a piece of. So, Mr. Grimm, hope you're ready.
So you mentioned GCW. So okay, GCW did a show over here with a UK show, so I've technically been to watch GCW. I enjoyed it. Again, there's a bit too much hardcore stuff for my liking. But what's your Dominic, Shayna Baszler, and didn't Becky Lynch go to GCW? So your thoughts on that?
I know Shayna did GCW for Bloodsport at WrestleMania weekend, her and Marsha Slamovich. But if Becky showed up, I did not know that. That's news, actually.
I'm making okay. I just saw a graphic on Facebook, so that's obviously all it was, just a graphic. Then, fair enough. Then, but Dominic was there, wasn't he? I'm sure Dominic did.
Dominic was there.
GCW.
Dominic was there. WrestleMania weekend. They had an 84-person battle royal where Dominic came in the mats and got eliminated. Yes. Yeah, you heard me correct. 84 people, which was 80. I don't know how to say this because we also had chickens that were in the Royal Rumble as well.
They count.
It counts.
They count.
They were eliminated. They were eliminated.
Then that means they count.
How do you eliminate a chicken?
Shout out to Microman, who is about the size, who's about like 2 inches shorter than Hornswoggle, who won the whole battle.
Oh.
How would you
This is why I love GCW.
Can't chickens fly? They just flap their wings and stay in the air.
Yeah, listen, they were eliminated. We had chickens there. We had a doll. I'm not sure if you ever heard of this doll over in Japan, like the super over.
Yes.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. The doll. So Ricky, have you heard of the doll?
Yeah, I think oh God, Kota Ibushi wrestled a doll and made it look like he was actually wrestling a person.
So that doll lasted 35 minutes in the royal. So yeah. GCW is entertainment. It was and I can say that the Pujami prison match that weekend was my best one. GCW runs 2 types of shows. They run one for the family and they run one for the hardcore fans. Not all of their shows are blood and guts.
Something I never knew.
Yeah, not all of their shows are blood and guts. They actually have like CZW. I just meant that they actually have shows where it is family oriented.
Wow. Okay. Learn something new every day because I swore CZW was just hardcore.
Yeah, news.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Joey Janelle has done some crazy stuff at CZW, building into glass. Just like, really awful.
Before we wrap up, I'm gonna say this. This year I had
that's a stunt show.
This year I had the privilege of going on my very first Chris Jericho cruise, and a lot of so Chris Jericho had this Q&A, and a lot of questions were coming up, and it's kind of what made me want to step back into the ring. GCW has a lot of eyes on them right now, in a positive way, and it's to be marketable. ECW was marketable for that era. NWA was marketable for that era. We're about to change with this whole Netflix and Raw thing. Wrestling is about to shift. So now you really got to get in where you fit in that. And I feel like GCW is about to be one of the ones that's up next.
So interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, wrestling will definitely change. 80% of the world will watch instantly. So have you got any final questions, Mark, before we wrap up this interview?
I do not.
Okay, then. So do you want to... I know you wanted to promote CZ, or we'll call it CZW for you. So, yeah, when's their next show?
Yes, make sure y'all come see me next Saturday at the Baltimore Power Plant. CZW presents Charm City Chaos. Bell time is at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are $39. If you're familiar with the Power Plant, you know it's so much to do there. You can go bull riding before the show. You can, if you're old enough, you can go drinking. They have an escape room there. It is a pretty awesome card with Deshaun Pratt challenging Aaron Ash for the CZW World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not 100% sure if Kenta, who won the best of the best, will be there, but yes, Kenta is their next number one contender. If you're in the DC area next Friday, we have SmackDown there, and then August the 30th, although I won't be there because I have prior engagements in Atlanta. New Japan Pro Wrestling runs Capital Collision Part 3. Any years it's always sold out as one of the best shows ever. So that's about it. If I could say one more thing before I go, it would be to my nephew who's here. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Kelvin, way of Kelvin, who just said I love wrestling. Don't we all love wrestling?
Yeah. And I'm glad he's still here.
Yes, go on, Mark.
Nephew, this is for you. Because you still got a chance to shape your career. And I'm saying this in front of a live broadcast. I quit my career to do other things. And I know where you're passionate with this. It's going to get hard. It's going to get tough. At times you're going to want to say, fuck this whole thing. Don't give up. You have something that a lot of people don't have, and that is the it factor. I've told you this several times before. I feel like you're a model in real life. You have the perfect gimmick to be a heel. I am by your side. I am supporting you. You're one of the reasons why I actually did this interview, so you can see like everything will come into fruition. And when I get back in that ring, it's me and you, whether I'm standing across from you, or I'm standing next to you. But outside of that ring, nephew, I need you to know 24/7, I'm gonna always have your back, and I'm your biggest fan. Ricky, Mark, I want to thank y'all for everything. Yeah.
And good luck in all your wrestling shows. Good luck to your nephew. I hope he becomes champion. He gets many titles just like you did. Even though you were a champion for 36 days, that's many more than being a champion. I've been a champion for 0 days, so 36 days is more than I've been. And one last message from Calvin, way of Calvin. Yeah.
You're welcome.
And yeah, thank you for joining me. Like I said, good luck in all that you do.
Thank you.
And hopefully we can get you back on here, just like maybe as a co-host, become as a co-host.
Yeah, most definitely.
And then you'll be on for the rest of the show reviewing. Yeah. So yeah, I'll message you. Yeah, maybe next week.
All right, Mike, Ricky,
possibly if you're available.
Next Sunday, I'll let you know because it's all in. Right, it's all in. All right, y'all have a good one.
Saturday, because it'll be next
Saturday. I'll let you know.
Saturday because of all in, so it'll be Saturday.
All right, I'll let you know. Y'all have a good one.
Right, thank you for joining me, man. Thank you and goodbye. So yeah, good interview there. So let's kick off with me and Mark gonna have to do these segments, but our first segment is where's the video? I forget every time about.
What's cooking at
the banner and that is right. So I've been to the gym trying to not have a physique like Viscera.
That's important.
And been at my crafting. I made this. OTC sign. What else would I make? And match card for All In and match card for Bash at Berlin. And that's really all I've been up to. What have you been up to since not last Wednesday, before, wasn't it? The 7th, I think.
Yeah, it was the Wednesday before.
What have you been up to since then?
Same things as usual, playing basketball, skateboarding, getting ready to go back to work next Tuesday. So that's going to be fun. Looking forward to that, to be honest.
You don't want any in your own fate.
Yeah, no.
You're going to be teaching. Getting out of breath talking. And me.
Listen, man, we got to work on that. We got to work on your stamina, big guy.
Not good. That's not good.
Got to work on that stamina. Can't be have you getting blown up while talking.
Stamina of viscera.
My man getting blown up while talking.
That'd never be good. If I went lucky enough to go to. Hey.
Just
If
know,
I was lucky enough to go to WWE, cut a promo, go, hang on, I'm tired.
Like you remember how Bubba Ray's gimmick at one point in time was stuttering? Yours would just be out of breath.
Yeah, I could do that. Have a heel. Hello, all you idiots. Give me a minute. You all suck. Another minute. Thank you all. Yeah, great to have you on. And yeah, if you can come back on and be a co-host, that'd be fantastic. But let's get to the next segment, and that is this right here.
From Bollywood to Nollywood, we're talking
movie talk. So 5 movies obviously I've watched since last on. So Vampires versus the Bronx, okay movie. Mr. Right, okay movie. A Babysitter's Guide to Monster Hunting, okay. End of the Road was okay, but The Union on Netflix, great movie. So that's worth a watch. Have you watched any movies since we last spoke, or any series, or any documentaries, or anything?
Nope. Nope.
I'll just move on then to this segment and it.
I'm waiting for the okay, Wrestling Days.
So Wrestling Days out with Ricky Goldman. I went to 2 shows last Saturday and Sunday called Future Shock here in the UK. It's at the 20th anniversary. 20 years they've been going. That's incredible. Just shows how successful you can be. And they've had the likes of Pete Dunne. I think Tyler Bates started there. I know Pete Dunne did, and he brought in the UK title when he was champion. He defended it there. So it's obviously big for that company. But yes, 20 years. And our next show is... But I'll play an ad, and then we'll get into plenty of wrestling talk. Almost 2 weeks to cover. But as always, this. Give me a second. That is right. Protein Tees Goldman's, and I believe there's some new designs going up. As I always say, if you cannot purchase a t-shirt, get it shared. All my socials on screen right now. Follow me and all of that. As we get into some wrestling chatter, because it is time for... I'll let Sam take it away, because it is time for...
It is now time for wrestling.
That is right, Wrestling Roundup. I will start with everybody's favourite show, because there are people, some of my viewers watch it. Very quickly, I'll cover it, AEW. So, here we go. So, 2 weeks of it, I'll just really quickly run through. So, Dynamite saw Carl Fletcher lose to MJF, Viva Van, whoever that is, lost to Mariah May. But at least Mariah May's building momentum heading into All In next Saturday. Shea Batter knocked off Brian Keith and can't seem to get a win. FTR and Orange Cassidy knocked off Roderick Strong, Roosh, and the Beast Mortis. Camille won a handicap match against Clara Carter and Jazz. And if you saw a picture of those two on Facebook, they look so happy to be there. And Brian Danielson knocked off Jeff Jarrett in an Anything Goes match. Darby Allin defeated Utah, knocked off Rocky Romero. Private Party, that seemed to be on a bit of a winning ways as of late, defeated Zayn and Dave Dawson. Nyla Rose did the job to Saraya. Collision. Darby Allin hologram that seemed to be getting a push, beat the mere athletes. Thunder Rosa, Deanna Purrazzo went at it again. I think they thought the third or fourth match. This time Thunder Rosa won. Roosh defeated Preston Vance. Swerve Strickland on Collision, like no one in AEW, but Swerve Strickland, the champion, defeated Ishii. Hikaru Shida knocked off Aaliyah James of, I think, NXT UK. If anybody remembers her, if anybody watched NXT, I did, of course, but if anybody watched it, remembers Aaliyah James. That's her. And House of Black took on Gang. Nobody, I think, it was a draw. So all of that, I'll say, a bronze. Last week's very quickly defeated Hikaru Shida, lost to Hangman Adam Page. Triple threat action. So Orange Cassidy come out on top against Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. The Young Bucks beat the Acclaimed by DQ. Strickland defeated Eula Wheater. Conglomeration went over the Butcher and the Outrunners. Erica Lee, whoever that is, lost to Nyla Rose. Kip Sabian, who was getting a push. Not any. Carl Fletcher and Roosh beat Rick Tyson and MX Collection that are mates. They took the L to Top Flight, and we'll finish off with this last week's Collision. Britt Baker over Harley Cameron. Again, she's building momentum heading into London. Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara are brand new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions after taking them away from Undisputed Kingdom. Hologram is 5-0 against Angelico. Danny Orion lost to Jack Perry. Jack Perry unveiling a new championship. How many TNT titles have they had? About 10,000 designs. Leo Rush put over Claudio Castagnoli. London Dior went beat May and Raw. All that over. Sorry, bronze. So that's Dynamite. All AW all caught up with. So let's go to your show of Smacky D's.
Smacky D's.
2 weeks ago.
So wait, hold on. What date was that? Was that the 9th?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. So
9th.
I don't know if I think I don't know if I have all the notes. But these are the notes I do have. So Cody opened the show with a promo. Solo interrupted. Kevin Owens came out to help him. Cody tells Kevin Owens that he'd like to face him at Bash at Berlin. Kevin Owens, of course, declined. He really wanted. So Cody insists upon it and tells Kevin Owens he's going to go talk to Nick Aldis. It was a cool little promo, but it was also kind of awkward too because the fact that Kevin Owens was like, "Nah, I don't want it. I don't think I deserve it. I've been on a losing streak, etc." And Cody's like, "I think you do. You've been half my back, dude. So like, yeah, let's do that." So it came off a little awkward at first. I'm not gonna lie to you. What's your thoughts on the thoughts on the first segment?
Then, of course, obviously later on the match got made. Jumping in ahead here, the match got made. Well, the suspension of disbelief. If I'm Kevin Owens, I don't care if I've been on a loser streak for the last 20 years. If I'm offered a title shot, I'm taking it like that. But what made Owens get the title shot is when Nick Aldis said, "No, Reigns is next in line. Reigns is not getting the title shot. I want it." Okay.
So there's a reason why Aldis did that. Aldis did that to entice Kevin to take it, right? Because the obvious thing is Roman's not next. He did that to get under Kevin Owens' skin. So Kevin Owens can be like, "Okay, yeah, it is me. Duh. Okay, fine. I'll take it." It wasn't to be like, "Oh, no, we're really going to give it to Roman." It was really like, no, this is our way because we know Roman screwed this guy however many times off the title. Exactly. So it wasn't really made to, to really happen. It was made to have Kevin Owens take it and accept it. So after that segment, the Street Profits defeated A-Town Down Under for in the number one contender qualifying match. I liked the match. The match was cool. Their styles work well together. The Street Profits are on the up and up after. I mean, you gotta get them restarted again because they're a very popular tag team. Very popular tag team. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. What are your thoughts on that?
I liked, well, A-Town Down seemed to be a little bit lost in the shuffle. I liked it. Not jumping ahead here, but I'd be really shocked if they beat the Bloodline. Very, very, very shocked.
Okay.
But yeah, I like they got the win.
Yeah. Tiffany Stratton had a backstage segment with Pretty Deadly. Chelsea Green interrupted Tiff. And forever and a day, Chelsea Green, along with Piper and Nevin, will just keep bugging Tiffany Stratton. Because Chelsea Green was the last person on that ladder before Tiff pushed her off. And so that's going to forever be like a talking thing there. Good promo. I mean, it was entertaining. It was kind of funny. But, whatever.
It's two heels. It's like, who do you cheer for? It's just, they're slow. Oh, God. Ugh. We'll get to it on last week's SmackDown with the turnings to Tiffany face. Just way too early. But
Jade defeated Alba Fire. Blair Davenport and Alba Fire's partner Dawn. I don't know her first name of the superstar. Sorry. Attacked Jade Cargill after the match. Well, they attacked Jade Cargill and Belair. Naomi came out and evened the odds.
Ugh. So when they win the titles, so it was Clash at the Castle in July, I want to say. So they've been champion 2 months and they're already losing. Just Belair and Cargill had them. They were at that level, and then cool for Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Cool, but they took those down a level.
I agree. I mean, Alba Fire and Dawn as a tag team, they're probably a lot more successful versus them individually. I know, some people are tag team people, some people are singles people. Those two are a tag team, obviously, right? So that's how that works.
And for those, I'm playing the minority here, but for those that check the main event results, Alba, they've both been losing single matches on main event. Damn, that's not good.
Yeah, that's true, man. I don't know, man. The next thing, LA Knight did a promo. Santos Escobar interrupted LA Knight, calling him trash, saying that he deserves the title, etc. Thoughts?
I like Santos, but I don't know LA Knight has his fans, but you had Logan Paul outside of Reigns, the WWE's biggest star, and then LA Knight wins it. Ugh. Okay.
I think what it is, Ricky, is people love to see the babyface chase a title. They love seeing the chase, but when they win it, it's up to WWE to keep up that momentum, and that's the hard part, keeping up the momentum of when you're chasing the title versus when you have the title. And the next match, Andrade faced Escobar in a number one contender match for the U.S. Number one contender U.S. title for the U.S. title, and Carmelo Hayes provided a distraction, allowing Santos Escobar to get the victory over Andrade.
Give me just 1 second. My dog is crying for some reason. I think
Sure.
One second.
Yeah, go handle your dog stuff.
Okay, there you are. Right. Okay. Right.
He wanted some freedom.
He was trapped. He was trapped behind the door.
He wanted some freedom.
He wanted a drink. I was shocked that Andrade lost this. Big win for Santos, but 7 months Andrade has been undefeated. Speed champion for those that watch the. Yeah, shocked.
It keeps the Carmelo Hayes Andrade feud going, and it's one of the best. It's one of the better feuds on SmackDown right now. DIY defeated Pretty Deadly in the number one contender qualifier match. Well, it was a qualifying match to become number one contenders that happened last Friday. It's so confusing to say it that way. Why can't they just find another way of phrasing it? But DIY beat Pretty Deadly. What's your thoughts on that?
Pretty Deadly, former NXT UK champions, NXT tag team champions. They had quite a decent debut. I think they faced Orton and Owens. They were in some quite fairly big matches, and now they're on a losing streak, and they want to perform a musical. Just no.
Now, I agree with you. I once again, I didn't really get to see Pretty Deadly's work in NXT. They were in NXT during the time period I didn't watch it, so I don't know their work. I don't know the quality of their work. I see that they're entertaining with the whole Yes Boy thing and all that, but I haven't really seen their tag team efficiency. I've only seen they're good. They're good on the mic. I'll tell you that they got great mic work. They're good entertainers, but I don't see the sports side of the entertainment part. And obviously, DIY. They lost to a tough tag team with the Bloodline, so of course they want their titles back, which makes a lot of sense.
I like that. Yeah, they lost to the Bloodline, and then then the week after they won. So you took the titles off them, but they haven't looked weak, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean it does a good service because it also says, hey, you're not just going to get an automatic rematch. You got to earn that rematch. So I actually really like that they did the little qualifying matches, because you shouldn't just be given a rematch just because you lost. And I remember when WWE said they was going to stop doing that, and then they started doing that again, and it became rubbish after a while. But I like the fact that they made them qualify. Now, mind you, I want to say this: that was the end of my notes for Smacky D's because then I got busy.
Well, yeah, because when we get Solo Sikoa came out, Tribal Chief, OTC came out, killed the Bloodline. Yeah.
Oh, that's when he tried to grab the Ula Fala and he didn't.
And huge Reigns fan, as the whole planet knows. I love that. I loved it. But why is Cody not? But Cody's the guy. Why is he not the main event? And this is not a guy who's been champion for, if you count 8 months, he's been champion for 4 months. And how many times did he main evented SmackDown? Whether that's a match or a promo, right? 3 or 4. So, damn.
Let me help you out here with this. A lot more times than not, Cody is starting off the show, right? It's good to see the champion either starting off the show, and your show should end with the hottest feud. Cody just got out that feud with the Bloodline. It's not his feud no more, right? And it's okay for him to not be in the hottest feud going on. You don't need to be in the hottest feud. You don't. You really, like, even if you are the guy carrying the champion for, he's the big champion on the blue brand. He don't need to be in the hottest storyline. The hottest storyline right now, and that it honestly has been for the past 4 going on 5 years, is the Bloodline. That's been the hottest story going. Now, of course, it had its low points, it had its high points, and it's still at another high point because now we're trying to figure out who's the real tribal chief, right? So there's nothing wrong with Cody not being in the main event. I want everybody to understand that. If you're one of those people that's like that pretty much had the same question that Ricky had, which is, well, how come Cody isn't in the main event segment of Smacky D's? The answer is he just got out that feud. He was literally main eventing those promo spots or those matches during the feud with the Bloodline. He's out that now. He's gone. He's not dealing with Bloodline stuff no more. So they have to move on. Plus, every Smacky D show, for the most part, starts off with Cody. So it's cool that he starts off the show, but him ending the show and his feud, he doesn't even have a feud with Kevin Owens. It won't make sense. If you really think about it, that would be the worst way of ending the show. He's a great introduction to the show because it's not really a strong feud. It's just, hey, you're my friend. And we're going after the title, right? You're going after my title. That's great, right? That's a great way of starting off the show. Have the matches in the middle, some other promo stuff, and then at the end, have your hottest thing going in the show. And when we talk about last Friday's Smacky D's, we're going to see another example of what we're talking about. So, but we have to before you go, Ricky, because I don't know if you was just about to talk about Raw, but we have to talk about Raw on the 12th of August. I didn't take those notes down.
Just to win SmackDown, Reigns is like a god to those people. Like, he does the ooh-ah thing, and he did that 3 or 4 times, and they just loved it. So, and he did that 4 years ago, and he was a big dog, and they hated him. So, what a turnaround!
This is what we call progression, right? So, for the people that may or may not know, me and Ricky, along with many others, are in a group chat, okay, and we discuss this shit damn near every day. As we know, Ricky is a big fan of the Tribal Chief, the original Tribal Chief, right? We all know how big of a fan he is. But sometimes Ricky don't like listening or reading. Because the thing is, and he just alluded to it, so I'm glad Ricky said that to you guys. Years ago, when Roman would be setting up for the spear, no one cared. People booed it. Why? Because WWE wasn't listening to the fans. they force-fed us Roman Reigns, right? For years, they force-fed Roman Reigns. We wanted Roman Reigns to lose everything. We didn't care. When he lost the Royal Rumble in Philly, we cheered the shit out of that. No, it wasn't in Philly. The one where he put the title on the line. When he lost that, the crowd cheered like a motherfucker because they were so excited to see that man lose. And then at WrestleMania, he got it back. And guess how many people was upset? Damn near everybody. About 95% of the people were like, golly, not him with the title again. Right? And so when WWE start booking him correctly with the whole, first of all, they had to build up the tribal chief thing. And I'll say this, and I know this is usually when we do a different segment, but hey, we're here. Paul Heyman, we don't talk enough about his part in the whole tribal chief thing. We don't, right? Because if Paul Heyman had never turned his back on Brock Lesnar to start managing Roman Reigns, Roman's tribal chief gimmick would be trash. He needed Paul Heyman to be there. You need a good manager. And what better manager than Paul Heyman to do that job? And then to help build the bloodline, right? Have a wise man. And all the things they did together with that wise man gimmick, right? It worked super well. So there were things put in place that they was going to get. They finally gave the fans what they wanted, which was heel Roman. Roman saying that I'm better than all y'all, and y'all better recognize that I am. But the whole acknowledge me line, having a wise man, building the bloodline with his cousins being involved, even so much to call up a cousin from NXT, Solo Sikoa, and gave the fans what we wanted because for years we couldn't stand this man. This man was John Cena, but worse at a point in time. This man couldn't cut a damn promo, suffering succotash.
Yeah. He forgot his lines frequently.
Yeah, and John Cena was like, yo, it's called a promo, kid. Like, what? And it showed, even when he beat Cena, it was like, boo, no one wanted you to do that, bro. You should have lost to him. We didn't want it. But when he went away, the leukemia and everything else like that during the pandemic and everything, when Roman came back, it was fresh. And he was a heel. Talk about fresh. Woo!
And very quickly going back to the rumbling Philly, he was that bad they booed The Rock.
Yes.
Like, that's not good. Not good. Yes. The people's champion got booed.
Roman Reigns got force-fed to us so badly that him and his cousin got booed in Philly. That's not good. But this is what I'm saying. It took WWE however long to get it correct. And now they have it correct. And now they can turn him babyface. Why? Because he's over like Rover, and it makes sense. Because the bloodline feud is super hot. Like literally the Ula Fala is just as damn important. In their case, in the Bloodline's case, the Ula Fala is more important than the championship itself. Because that's a symbol of who runs the family. And there's nothing bigger than family.
And very quickly again, when The Rock came out, it was, here comes The Rock. Oh, he's here to help Reigns. Ugh.
Yeah. You can't force feed a fan base that's mixed with casuals and marks. You can't do it, right? You can't mix a fan base full of marks, hardcores, and casuals. The casuals don't care. The marks are pissed, and the hardcore fans, which are marks, or maybe they're a slight tier below marks, they're like, is my intelligence being insulted right now? Like, when did Roman Reigns become Super Cena, bro? Like, I'm confused. So it took them years to get the Roman Reigns project right, but they finally got it correct.
The time I would have turned in heel is the night after Mania 33, where that crowd hated him after he beat Taker. He should have turned heel then, but he didn't. So
they didn't know what they was doing. But I think Ricky, I think it's time because we can't hold the people up for too long. We gotta move on to the 12th of August Raw.
So rating for SmackDown, I'll say bronze plus. What's your rating?
I'm going to give it a silver.
Very quickly level, watch it. But okay, so quickly, Dante Chen. I like the push that Dante Chen is continued to get. Not of Keanu Carver. Wendy Cho defeated Laney Reed and Idris. Give me a second. Yeah, Idris in a fight. I can't remember how you pronounce his second name, but he beat Kale Dixon. Althea Silver. Do you like that Wendy Cho's getting pushed to go after the title? What's your thoughts on that?
Who?
Wendy Cho, the one with the creepy gimmick, the one with the pillow on NXT.
Oh, Pillow Girl.
Yeah, yes.
I don't know much about her. I think it's cool because her gimmick is interesting. So I think her going after the women's North American title is getting more interesting. So I'm awaiting to see more of the Pillow Girl.
So let's go to the 3-hour Monday night show, Raw, kicking off with Rhea Ripley, Dominic. Great line by Rhea, which I'll get to in a second. But Dominic and Liv Morgan continue to get heat in the crowd. Rhea with a killer line. This has buried Dominic forever. You backstabbed me, but you might have heard it before. Wasn't deep enough. You can't say that. You cannot say that.
You can't say that.
I'm sure his wife is a very happy woman, but yeah, your thoughts on the opening thing with Rhea, Liv, and Dominic?
Well, I love this feud. You know I love it. It's literally a beautiful cherry on top because now what they're doing, right? And this makes it so good. They're feeding off of what was given to us during SummerSlam, right? And they're doing a slow build. They're not quickly trying to throw it in there or nothing. They're building it up again. They're rebuilding it, if anything. And I love that they're rebuilding it. Because it's awesome that they're rebuilding the feud again.
I like that you've had Rhea lose and Priest lose, but Priest has continued to get wins. Rhea does not look weak at all after losing at SummerSlam. You gave Liv the win. Dominic turned heel, he was already heel. Turned on Rhea. She did all of that, but still looks strong. Great booking, great, so very well thought out. If that's Triple H or whoever else backstage, well done. And then you had Priest come out. He destroyed Dominic. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's feeding into both storylines, right? They're killing it, man. They're doing such a good job with this. I love all the stuff that's involved in the Judgment Day right now. Judgment Day, Terror Twins, Judgment Day, all that. It's good stuff.
Speaking of one of the Terror Twins, Mr. Priest himself knocked off the guy with the Apple Colito. Has he actually won a match since returning? Even with the bloodline, he's in the Judgment Day and still loses. He's a weak member of the Judgment Day. I think he might have won one match last week or whenever. I think he's won one recently. It builds momentum for Priest heading into Bash at Berlin, but other than that, thoughts?
Yeah, you feel bad for Carlito because you know Carlito could do more. A little lost in the shuffle with the whole not bloodline, Judgment Day thing. He's a little lost right now, but I think he's going to find his footing eventually. But yeah, I mean, Priest needs to keep that momentum going into Bash at Berlin.
You then saw Odyssey Jones knock off Cora Jade's boyfriend. He's a very lucky guy. Vincent Winey. Jobber match, basically. Final Testament come out. It's if he was turning in, and this is what I'll predict the future of the year. He turns heel tomorrow. He'll beat Kofi, lose to Odyssey Jones, then him and Karrion Kross will beat Kofi and Odyssey, and then that's it. Like, okay.
So Odyssey Jones, you know, here's the thing. The funny thing about this whole thing is, right, is Kofi is interrupting Woods. You know, he's like, nah, we're gonna do a 6-man. Screw it, because all Woods was about to say is a tag team match, right? Me and Kofi versus maybe like the AOP or somebody, right? And that's when Kofi's like, nah, let's get Odyssey Jones involved. Yeah, it's gonna be a 6-man. And was like, bro, I was not going to include that man. That man is not in the New Day. No. So it's looking more and more so. I'm not going to say immediately he's going to turn heel, but he's going to walk away from the New Day. He's going to be like, I need space, Kof. Can you give me some space? I just can't. And he might go more to expressing his feelings about Big E, and we might end up getting a special appearance by Big E. I feel like that might end up happening, that we get an appearance by Big E, and Big E convinces Woods to be like, yo, you got to give this kid a chance. Give Odyssey a chance, man, because listen, and it's going to be low-key emotional. That's what I predict. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be Big E being like, Woods, I'm not coming back, man. I'm not coming back. You got to give someone else a chance.
I think he turns heel tomorrow, but I guess let's wait and see. I think he'll cost Kofi and Odyssey the match, and then and go to nothing. He'll beat Kofi. Kofi loses to everybody. Jones Odyssey will beat him. They'll lose the tag team match, and then lost in the shuffle.
Possibly.
In a Texas Tornado match, like the last time I've seen a Tornado match, this was good. You had Creed Brothers knock off Alpha Academy. Yeah, good match. Your thoughts?
Oh man, like you said, it's been a while since I've seen a Texas Tornado tag team match. So just a little background for the folks. Back in the day, there's a game called WWF Warzone. Okay. One of my favorite matches on WWF Warzone was a Tornado tag team match. Why? You didn't have to tag in. Right? Because tagging in that game, I mean, when you're a kid, you don't really know the buttons. But I love Tornado tags. They did a really good job. I love the fact that it was in Austin, Texas.
It was on the PlayStation, Romeo, or Marquis, Romeo saying.
Yeah. It was also on the Nintendo 64. Yeah. Tagging on Warzone was hard. But and here's the other thing about it. You love to see a Texas Tornado tag, a Texas Tornado tag in Texas. So it was also cool to play up to the crowd.
That works. Yeah.
So it was a really good match between American Made Creed Bros versus the Alpha Academy.
Yeah. Jackie Redmond did a sit-down interview in front of the AEW crowd.
Stop.
Nobody. That's what people say every time. Well, Gunther did it when Gunther did his promo, And it's like Gunther's down in AEW. Anyway, Jackie Redmond did a sit-down interview with Pete Dunne. I like that they're now doing something with Pete Dunne. He's probably going to beat Sheamus. And then what did they do with him? I like it, but I don't, if that makes sense. What's your thoughts?
So Pete Dunne, first of all, I like the fact that like he made sure that she got it correct. It's not Butch. My name ain't Butch. It's Pete Dunne. Right? Listen, like I'm not getting repackaged. None of that stuff. I am Pete Dunne. You're gonna respect my name. Secondly, I'm not just some dude. I've won championships. Like, stop playing me like this. Thirdly, I think what he has going on in NXT is hotter than what he has going on Raw. On NXT, he has a chance of being in the title picture again. Raw, I get the whole Sheamus thing, right? He feels like Sheamus deserted him, and even going after Rich Holland's not a good move because Rich Holland got Chase U around him. So I feel like it's going to be a good. It's building up Pete Dunne in two ways. If he gets in a match with Sheamus, he loses. He doesn't lose momentum because he still has what he does on NXT. So the promo didn't serve that great of a purpose. It served a good purpose, not a great purpose.
If he wins, Sheamus loses to everybody. So it's a big win, but at the same time, it's not. It's like B. That's why next year matches, because if he loses every single one, means nothing. 56 dates, I would say he needs to win 10 of those matches. Anyway, oh god, Pure Fusion Collective, or Team Forehead, as we like to call them, who came up. What and they just threw dart. They put some names on like a dart, but they just threw. That'll do. Pure Fusion Collective.
That's a terrible team name.
But they got beat. Sorry, no, Damage lost. All Might although it was by DQ, they lost when they got the new name. Okay. So they didn't put them over or anything. By DQ, no. Did you like the? I guess you don't. Even Michael Cole didn't know what they're called. He said, "Is it Pure Fusion Collection? What is it?" So even Michael Cole was confused.
I hate the name. The name is dumb.
Your thoughts?
Pure Fusion Collect. Like, what's the why is that your name? Like, why?
Michael Cole said it's because of the MMA background thing, but it doesn't make any sense. It's just, you had 2 months to come up with a name, and he came up with that.
Yeah, it wasn't a good name, and they lost. They lost to Damage Control, right?
Damage Control.
Yeah. So like,
and like Damage Control didn't need the win. You could have had those lose.
Listen, Damage Control is just showing that they are the dominant.
So the Viper, Randy Orton.
They're just proving that they're the dominant women's team.
But Pooh and Dakota Kai is the now out, which is injured again. I think that's the 3rd time she's injured a knee, but anyway. Gunther did. It's to hype the match, but it's just like, what else can you do? RKO to Gunther. That's, of course, as Drew McIntyre and Punk came out. He's back after. I don't know if you saw a picture on Facebook, but he was like just covered in marks, like welts all over his back. But yeah, your thoughts on that? On Orton, Gunther, and your favourite Punk Drew.
So the Gunther Orton thing is getting hotter. I like it. It's getting momentum. Gunther calling Randy a screw up is a little weird, right? Like, is that not, to me? It's weird only because you're talking about Randy Keith Orton. You're talking about a 14-time world champ or something like that.
14.
That's more than Gunther has probably held.
Time we see you, and 3 away from the.
Like,
but Gunther's time is going to equal all of those 16, so he's going to be champion forever. So he's never losing.
All I'm saying is, once again, I like the build. The build is a little meh. Well, Gunther's promo was meh because it's just like you're talking to Randy Orton, bro. But I get it. You know, his whole thing is trying to talk down on people. And the McIntyre and Phillips stuff is starting to it's losing some of its stuff, just a little bit, but it was still good. Still good.
I love that the top prize on Raw is a 50-cent bracelet.
Yeah.
Like, insane, but damn good. A little crappy bracelet, and they're feuding over it. Like, they don't want a championship. They want a bracelet.
Championships don't matter right now. If you got a hot feud, championships don't matter.
Reed, The Miz, about 4 or 5 tsunamis on R-Truth. If Bronson Reed does the same thing next week or tomorrow on Raw against somebody, I'm bored. I'm a little bit bored already. I've seen it this twice. What he's going to do. Also, before I ask your thoughts, did you notice what The Miz has brought back? The Hollywood beginning of his theme. So he's going heel with the show. Heel face. Did you enjoy the match, and your thoughts on The Miz probably going heel?
So, because the Miz faced Bronson Reed, it was all right. It was okay. Bronson Reed kind of destroying R-Truth like that. You don't destroy a national treasure. That's not right. It's not fair. I hope R-Truth has a good recovery. I mean, the Miz, that made his theme. Well, here's the thing. We haven't seen the Miz come out solo in a while. So he's always going to have that Hollywood beginning thing for his entrance. We haven't seen him come out solo in a long time. So it's actually pretty cool that they went with that instead of. I guess they kind of showed us a preview that R-Truth is going to be off TV for a bit.
And heel is probably going to tell R-Truth. He'll beat R-Truth, and then that's it. Who cares? Turning heel. I love when did he debut? Was it 2005? I think. When did he debut? When he botched the Diva such thing? When was that?
Oh my gosh, that was
So that's
such a long time ago.
2005. So he's been there 19 years.
Yeah, he's been in WWE for a long time.
He was reading the thing. He was,
On his wrist.
he was reading and he botched it was a text call. He was like, oh, what am I doing? And just, yeah.
It's hard to read off your wrist, man.
Action. Well, yeah, he said he got sweaty and he just came off. But Bosch Berlin and you're in tag team match and Damien who take on Mysterio and Liv Morgan. That I would say is pay-per-view quality. And then your main event in a 2 out of 3 fall match for the Intercontinental title, still your champion Braun Breaker. Yeah, a nice way to end Raw. Your thoughts?
I think so. I couldn't hear what you said before you talked before the Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn thing, because you're kind of like glitching out sometimes.
Tag team match, Priest and Rhea. I think that's both put matches on pay-per-view that couldn't be on a random Raw or SmackDown. I don't think this could. I think if Owens called the main event of the SmackDown before Bash at Berlin, I'd be like, and I won't think stick it on pay-per-view. So I think the tag team match, yes, pay-per-view quality.
Yeah, the tag team is 100. The tag team match is 100% pay-per-view quality due to the fact that it's a feud that's been building up, and now you have not just one feud, you have 2 feuds coming together and making a good feud sandwich. So it's doing its job, especially at Bash at Berlin. As far as the main event goes, I do like how the main event went down. The last fall, of course, was the longest and most difficult fall to get. It was tied at 1-1, but the right person won. Obviously, got to build up Braun Breaker. And now the next challenge is to find his next challenger, which I think is going to be Jey Uso.
But you need to put the title on him. Look at the reaction he gets. He's super over. He's the #1 merch seller. In fact, he's selling 3 t-shirts at the top. Stick a title on him.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you, man. Like, it's time for Jey Uso to get a singles title. It's been time for him to get a singles title. It's just there. I guess it's not even a question. I just don't know what WWE is scared of. He's over already, but they're trying to build up Breaker. They're trying to build up Breaker, and they can't. And Jay already kind of lost to Gunther in one sense, but you know they're trying to build up Gunther as a champion. So it's like it's hard. It's hard to figure out what championship to even have Jay go after.
If I'm booking it, he would have won Money in the Bank. Not the awfulness, not the crap we got at Money in the Bank with Drew cashing in and just what a waste. Jay should have won. And he goes, okay, do you turn Jay heel later down the line and he goes after Cody and he's the guy to beat? Because Cody got Jay to Raw, so they've got a history. He didn't win, so that's just me. Just a scenario. So
in the scenario, I say this.
Anyway,
I say this. They're going to end up doing a superstar shakeup at some point in time. Jay, here's the thing. Jay will never be on the same show as the Bloodline. He will never be on the same show as the Bloodline anymore, because that ran its course. Cody and Gunther might end up switching shows in the future, which then opens up the door for Jay and Cody to have a beautiful feud. It's going to be so beautiful. It's going to be very good. But folks, we're not speaking truth. We're not insiders. We don't know nothing. We're just saying what we think might happen. But yes, we will carry on.
Based on my 25 years of watching, and yeah. I think Jay will get involved with the Bloodline for Survivor Series. I think the Usos are coming to save Reigns, but we'll get onto that here in a little bit of SmackDown. Raw's rating, I thought it was a good Raw. I'll say Silver. What's your rating?
I'm definitely with the Silver Plus.
So the Tuesday night show, the show that even when it's not good, it's still good. NXT. So Ethan Page come out, and then he didn't even have to say his name, and he appeared. We all know who it is.
Because we believe.
So, all he had to do was believe, and out he comes Joe Hendry. Wesley attacks. Yeah, good opener. Yeah, your thoughts?
Beautiful opener. Of course, Ethan Page came out, spoke his words, and I ain't gonna hold you. I popped so hard when Joe Hendry just popped up because I thought someone was gonna say his name, and I thought his name had, I thought he was like a genie in the lamp, right? I thought you had to say his name and then he appears. It was more so. He didn't even have to say his name. He just appeared. Joe Hendry cut a really good promo. Speaking that Sean is a fan of his. Booker T is the president of the fan club. Wesley sliding into the ring and super kicking Joe Hendry was beautiful. I hated it, obviously, but it was beautiful. Now that's how you work up. That's a good feud. So the NXT title is the only. It's the number one feud that we have going on in NXT, and it's beautiful. Right? That's what we call that's traditional writing, right? It's not the non-traditional approach that we have on Raw and SmackDown right now. Those are non-traditional approaches to how you handle the big title. NXT is doing the traditional way.
Your first match on NXT, the Heritage Cup, I was shocked. Tony D'Angelo loses. Charlie Dempsey, you're a two-time Heritage Cup champion, but you got Ren Sinclair there. So, okay, makes sense when you think about it, but yeah, I was shocked at that first shot, but then I thought, okay, that's why they've done it.
I liked it. I liked the shock. I liked the fact that it looked like she played a valuable part in him winning the Heritage Cup for the second time, and it gives them more to look at. So it's pretty dope.
A very, very quick match. So Alexis King knock off Eddie Thorpe. Okay, I thought Eddie Thorpe was getting looks like not. Your thoughts on a very quick win for Lexus?
To be honest with you, I didn't even see that match.
Okay. Did you see the next one? Lola Vice, Tatum Paxley. Did you see that one? Lola Vice got the win.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah, it was an Iron match.
And then you had Lola hugging Tatum, who was heel before the match, but now just face. Make it make sense. Wesley came out, cut a promo, challenging Zachary Wentz to a match at No Mercy. You're probably going to have Wesley win, and that's the last time you see the Rascals. Yeah. His promo felt like, say something. He was just like, well, I'm going to beat you, and you turn, now you lift me, and you're just I was waiting for something. Were you the same, or did you enjoy this promo?
I actually enjoyed the promo because the promo made a bunch of sense. Because he was like, listen, y'all left. I was here by myself. Not only that, but I'm like Big Brother. I'm in charge every time we're all hanging out. I'm the one making sure that we get to the shows on time. I'm the one making sure that we get on the plane on time. Like, and if it felt real because it's like, yo, you get tired of taking after someone, and we supposed to be friends. Not me being the dad. I don't want to be no father to y'all. I just want to. I don't want what y'all was giving me. And so, yeah, that's why I kicked you in the balls. That's why I super kicked the other one.
And then you had Pete Dunne coming out. I don't even think he said anything. He just battered Wesley. Joe Hendrick now got a triple threat on Tuesday, which probably Joe's winning to face Ethan Page at No Mercy. Can't see Ethan Page losing that this early, but yeah, I'm going to say Joe Hendry wins that. Do you agree, or do you think Pete Dunne wins the match, or who's winning?
I mean, I see a standing ovation happening, and I'm telling you, this is probably going to be and listen, I'm going to make this prediction right here, right now. It's probably going to be that NXT title match between Ethan Page and Joe Hendry is going to be the most watched NXT title match in NXT history. It's going to be the most watched.
Possibly. I can't right now think of all the. There's been many NXT matches on pay-per-view, but yeah,
I think it's
really popular right now. So
I mean, because like Joe Hendry is doing great numbers for NXT. Like all his stuff on like with NXT, whether it's on YouTube or Instagram, it has so many views.
I mean, it'd be super cool if he wins and takes that to TNA, but he's probably not winning. So, but speaking of championship matches for the North American Championship, Otis and Obafemi go at it. Obafemi retains, cool, but Otis just lost on Raw, so this means nothing for Oba. And I was expecting Moose. Maybe that's at No Mercy. I don't think there's a number one contender to face Oba, so yeah, your thoughts?
I mean, it was a meat match, meat on meat, big man, strength versus strength. I felt like it was a good test for Oba because we don't usually see Oba facing someone that big, right? There's not that many big guys on the NXT roster, right? And I get it about Otis, haven't won a match in a while, but we also have to. I think these are one of the times where we have to remember. One, you gotta remember how it looks. NXT is supposed to be who's next, right? The people that's coming up next, the next call-ups and stuff. Otis has been on the main roster since 2019, I think. I want to say.
Oh yeah, him and Tucker. Oh,
yeah,
heavy machinery.
But this is the same Otis that was also Mr. Money in the Bank, right?
Yeah. Okay, he was, but that was just to have a joke. And then he thought, okay, the joke's over, let's stick it on the Miz.
But still, it's still the fact that Otis has accomplished some things on the main roster. So we have to look at his resume when he goes back down to NXT to try to do something. And I mean, it was an amazing match. It in a way, it kind of still helped the Alpha Academy because, Otis is, he's like the lead. Right. And it's like, all right, he went up against this really big guy who has a lot of momentum. But it helped Obafemi more than it helped Otis, obviously. And I don't know what's next for Oba. I don't think, and I know where you're coming from, I don't think Moose is going to go after the title, but I do think Moose is going to face him. Because, Moose is probably going to be, I need a new challenge. So I'm going to face you.
That would be a very good match. Like they put two big guys. Are they both? Where's Oba from? Is he from Nigeria?
I think he's from. I think he's from an African nation. I just don't know which one. I do know that Obafemi used to play football at the University of Alabama.
I bet he killed everybody.
And Moose is a former NFL player, so it'll be actually quite the intriguing match between the two of them if it happens.
It should, but I bet they just. Oh no. Okay, who's next for Oba? Probably Tony D'Angelo because they're slowly hinting that he keeps interrupting him or cutting him off. So that's who's next.
Yep.
Which Tony D'Angelo won't win. So anyway, moving on. Women's action. Izzy Dame got a win. Reese, how does it a much needed win for Izzy here? Your quick thoughts on this one?
What was the match?
Izzy Dame and Brindley Reese.
Did I even watch it? No, I didn't watch that one. Yeah, I missed it.
It wasn't exactly. It wasn't Shawn Michaels versus Taker. It was a quick match. But your main event was really good. Brand new tag team champions Chase U and Nathan Fraser lose. Ridge Holland has won gold in NXT, so him going back to NXT really worked out. But I, along with everybody else, was expecting him to turn. He didn't. Yeah, brand new tag team champions.
I thought Ridge was going to turn too. I did because how much the other people in Chase U didn't believe in Ridge. I thought he was going to turn, but he didn't. He came through on his word, and it also shows that that other tag team they don't have a name, but I only know one of the wrestlers' name in that tag team, but it shows that they aren't meshing well. They weren't meshing well to begin with. That was their first good day in a while. So, hey.
But it wasn't the greatest NXT of all time. Still good. Silver plus, your rating for it?
Just silver.
Very quickly, speed. So Montez Ford take on Austin Theory, led to a draw. If they do that again, I think that's getting boring. They've already done a draw finish. So if they do it for a third, and it speeds up, we've not been around, it's been for a few months. So if they do a draw finish again, okay, I'll say silver. I think it's again, I'll say every week, I think it's a great concept. So over to you, last week's Smacky D's.
Smacky D's, ba we love it. All right, Smacky D's from the 16th of August. Tiffany Stratton opened the show by introducing Queen Nia Jax, the WWE Women's Champion. She had a coronation ceremony as the champion. Jax did not like the color scheme. You know, Jax is more of a black and purple girl, not this pink, pretty stuff. She wanted Tiff to bow down. Tiff diverted to Pretty Deadly to sing and to bow down. Michin came out and interrupted that, and she ended up getting herself a title match with the Queen. I think on next SmackDown or at Bash at Berlin. Not sure which one. Yeah. So what you think?
Plenty to say here. Pretty Deadly are now. God. They're now just two like idiots, just stunts, like badly singing. Just that's the level they're at now. Tiffany's they're slowly turning her face this early on. I would have done it months down the line, and I like what they're doing with Michin. That should be added to Bash at Berlin, but I think it is next week.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. It should be at Bash at Berlin. Make it a little bit more of a big deal. I don't know if it's turning Tiff. I don't know which way it's going to turn. It just seems like Tiff's going to be a heel. It's just going to be heel on heel, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. So the next thing, Naomi, Cargill, and Belair had a segment backstage. You know, they were just talking about the beatdown that they're going to give. Mostly from Naomi being, supposed to be beating up, Davenport. Carmelo Hayes interrupted them, mentioned his after party, that, there's going to be drinks and this, that, and the third, vibes, all that. And those girls those women were not impressed.
At the end, he said, "Well, at least you watch my matches." I just thought, "That's your comeback." Ugh.
That's his comeback.
Okay.
Ain't nothing else to say. At least they watch. And that led to him having a match versus Andrade, in which he won the match. But after the match, the two of them kept going. They kept at it because Carmelo Hayes was trying to rub it in Andrade's face, and Andrade wasn't feeling that.
A much needed win for Carmelo Hayes.
Very much.
They're probably going to have another match. So is this the fourth match they'll have, which Andrade will win that, and they'll have another match.
It's a never-ending feud.
Yeah, just maybe they'll have a match at Bash at Berlin, but probably not, unless you have like 2 out of 3 or something.
Yeah, unless it's something, but they might be opening that show, honestly. A Giovanni Vinci vignette. What do you think?
At least they're doing something with him, but did they get it working NXT? I don't really think it did. It worked for like 3 weeks, and then people got bored. So something that didn't work in NXT, they wanted to work on the main roster. I don't know. They're doing something with him, so that's cool, but I don't know if it's going to work.
I like the gimmick that they're pushing. He's supposed to be like this playboy kind of guy. He's supposed to be like this smooth playboy, kind of like almost double of 07 kind of thing. But I like it. It looks good. I just hope it looks better with in-ring stuff as well. Because the one thing I can say about Giovanni Vinci is that he can go in a ring.
It's exactly the same gimmick as NXT. He had a 3-week push. He was undefeated for 3 weeks, and then nothing. He got buried. He's like, that's it. Or he started losing matches, and I think he had a championship match, and that was it. So,
okay. Well, I hope the best for Giovanni Vinci. Blair Davenport beat Naomi. That was interesting.
Much needed with just like Carmelo, much needed win for Blair. And if she's now in this faction with the tag team champions, she needs a win. Even though the champions lose all the time.
Well, somebody got to win. Somebody has to win, right? Theory and Waller had a segment. They were speaking about KO, how much he sucks, this and third. Kevin Owens showed up and spoke to Waller and pretty much was like, yeah, I agree with you, but let's handle some business in the ring. And, Waller was trying to tell him to stop. Theory was trying to tell him to stop because Owens was behind him. And, that happened.
Well, yeah.
Any thoughts on that, Rick?
It was funny. He was trying to cut him off, and Owens was right behind him. Like,
yeah. Then, right after that segment ended, KO defeated Waller. Cody helped KO with Waller in Theory. KO grabs the belt and gave it to Cody. So, to me, they're building up a respectful title match, which is fine.
Bill's momentum for all wins, but the last big match Waller won was probably WrestleMania.
Yep.
They beat Awesome Truth on Raw, but then Awesome Truth lose to everybody. So their last big win was Mania. They're slowly turning Owens heel. If he doesn't turn heel at Berlin, it will be afterwards a rematch at Bad Blood that no one will care about. And then he's lost in Berlin, but we now have to believe he's going to win at Bad Blood.
Right. I don't know, man. Phantasma had a vignette. La Liga del Phantasma had a segment. Escobar talking about the U.S. title, taking the U.S. title from LA Knight. Yeah. Thoughts on that?
I liked it. Santos doesn't need to necessarily be on the show live to look strong. He just did that promo and knocked off Andrade last week. So yeah, Andrade night at Berlin. I bet they do that on the SmackDown before but should be Berlin, but I bet it won't be.
I like the Phantasma gimmick without the LWO being on the same show. It allows that group to grow and blossom without being overshadowed by the LWO. So it does them a great service. Escobar is a great promo, like a really good promo.
LWO have gone to nothing. Rey Mysterio is Egon, and again, for those that watch main event, the LWO have been jobbing out on main event. So the only person that's really relevant is Lena Vega, I suppose.
Yeah, but I do like the vignette, the promo. It was a good promo. Well, and then right after that, LA Knight came back with a rebuttal, and I can say I'm enjoying this U.S. title feud. I am very much enjoying it. Your thoughts?
It was just a build to the match, like I said, that's probably going to happen either at Berlin or the SmackDown in Berlin. So they'll need a match for there, so that'll just be, let's stick it on there.
Yeah. I mean, even though, like, why would the people in Berlin care about a United States title? But hey, of course, whatever. So Michin, Chelsea Green, Viper Niven did a segment. Green and Viper had Karen'd their way. Yes, they Karen'd their way into Aldis's office. Mind you, Aldis wasn't even the hell in there. And Nia Jax attacked Michin.
And then he was in there.
He got in there, yeah.
Get in my office, like, what's he gonna do? She's a champion.
I don't know what he could do to the champion. It's just like,
nothing.
Come into my office now. Like, you can't be. He could fine her, but that's it. What's your thoughts on that backstage segment?
Yeah, I like Chelsea Green's gimmick. It is like comedy gold.
It's so funny.
Knocked on the door and said, "Well, what was the line? Sorry, not sorry. We're coming in. If you don't like it, who cares?" Something like that. Just very funny.
She's hilarious, and I just saw like a bit of an interview from her today that she did with Chris Van Vliet, and she spoke about how she entered the Rumble for like 5 seconds, got eliminated by Rhea Ripley, and about how everyone pays such attention to winning when not everything. When in professional wrestling, sometimes it's not even about winning. Sometimes it's about how you make other people feel. She's been in professional wrestling for 10 years, and she understands that it's not always about winning. It's about how you make people feel. And
she was a very good heel in TNA as well as Laurel Van Ness. If you watched any of her TNA.
Oh yeah, I sure did. The hot mess, Laurel Van Ness. That was a crazy ass gimmick, yo. That was a really good ass gimmick. But it shows that she got the chops to do it, right? She has the chops to be comedic gold. And if she ever, even when there was tag champs, awesome work. If she ever gets her hand on Money in the Bank, which I'm going to call it now, Chelsea Green is next year's Miss Money in the Bank. By the way, I'm calling that now. That's my shot. I'm calling my shot now for that. If she ever gets her hand in that briefcase, it's going to be hilarious. And it's going to be even funnier if she gets her hand on the title, and now she's just always going to be in Nick Aldis's face. It's going to be so fucking funny. In a number one contender match, the Street Profits defeated DIY, and they will be facing off against the new bloodline at Bash at Berlin. Your thoughts on the match? Your thoughts on them facing off against the bloodline at Bash at Berlin?
it's next week, the match. Not at Berlin, it's next week. So that's their pushover win. This is a good win, good match. DIY did not look weak, but the push is over next week. They're not beating the Bloodline, so
I want them to beat the Bloodline, and I'll even add this in. I want Roman to be the reason why the Bloodline loses.
Apparently, he's taking a month off. So,
like, I know, but here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you why I say that. I just want his music to hit. I want his music to hit. One of the members of the who's ever the legal man in the ring gets distracted. They get rolled up. I want that to be how it goes down, so that way it don't really hurt the Street Profits that much, and it keeps pushing the Bloodline feud. But that's just me.
It does, but I think they're gonna destroy Street Profits, so then they look strong. Because what happened next? I'll let you say it.
Well, what happened next was Tama Tonga came out with Solo Sikoa, and Roman came out, and well, sadly, Roman got his ass whooped.
And there was something on Facebook. Reigns was nearly champion for 4 years. Jacob Fatu's been there for 4 months and looks like a beast. He killed Reigns. Like, he's the future. He's very good.
Very good.
I enjoyed that bit.
Yeah, here's the thing about the Bloodline stuff, right? Similar to what happened with the Judgment Day, they blew up the Judgment Day, they transformed a new Judgment Day, right? But they gave the people that got kicked out the Judgment Day something to do, which is feuding with them, right? You can't leave your hottest entities just to be out there, right? And that's what they're doing with the Bloodline too, because technically, if you want to be real, the Bloodline stuff for real, should have stopped at WrestleMania, but it didn't. So I compare what happened with the Bloodline to what happened to DX when Shawn Michaels lost the title. When he lost it to Austin, right? The next night on Raw, Triple H talked about how Shawn Michaels dropped the ball. Solo Sikoa said the same shit pretty much. Like, Roman screwed this up. This is his fault that our family is now in disarray. I'm going to bring us back together. He became the new leader of the Bloodline, similar to how Triple H became the new leader to DX. And just like Triple H, he brought in some new faces, right? Very similar to how DX was ran. And similar in that same way, DX so this is where the comparisons drift off, because DX was not the most over thing at that time period. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was The Rock. Well, no, The Rock wasn't even as popular yet. He was getting there. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin, though. He was the number one thing happening. And it didn't matter what was going on with Austin. He was the number one thing. Over here is different. The Bloodline is the number one thing happening because of how deep this storyline goes. Especially when Solo started talking all this mess about him being the tribal chief, when we all saw who the tribal chief is. Then when Roman came back at SummerSlam, it just ramped up. It turned the Bloodline thing into from sleeper mode into turning the volume all the way up. Because now Roman's back, he's challenging Solo. He's going in solo by himself, facing off against the new Bloodline, which has about 4 to 5 members. No, wait. Solo, Tama Tonga, Tagaloa, Jacob. 4 people. So Roman is doing like a 1-on-4, 1-on-3 type of deal to just get back to Ula Fala. This is what good writing does, though, because good writing says, all right, my most over thing can't slowly drift off and die. We have to do something with this. And that's what they're doing with both the Bloodline and the Judgment Day. They're doing great creative stuff. So creative and so good that the top titles on both shows aren't the primary focus, which is awesome.
Definitely, yeah. It kind of makes the titles look weak, but great storytelling, but the titles look like just they don't want them. So,
I mean, there's bigger things going on than the titles. Like to keep it real, there are bigger things going on with both of those factions, bigger than the titles, right? The Judgment Day's whole thing is let's get rid of Rhea and Damian for good. The Bloodline thing is like, who's the real leader of the Bloodline? These are things that if a title was in the picture, it'd be in the way. So forget the titles. We want to fight. Screw the titles. We were trying to fight. That's it. But we have to grade SmackDown. I'm giving SmackDown a silver plus.
Yeah, I would say the same. Quickly level up. The returning Danny Palmer lost to Jasmine Nix. Stacks and Luca Crucifino defeated Tyson DePont and Tariq Igwe. I would have had DePont and Igwe win, but that's just me. Hank and Tank, well, like as a tag team, knocked off Uriah Connors and Cale Dixon, and Wolfgang went over Cutler James. I'll say your thoughts on Jasmine Nix's push. Do you like? Have you liked? I don't know if you've seen much of her, but have you liked what you've seen?
I have no idea who that is.
JC Jane's tag partner. Fair enough. I'll just move on. So I'll play one final ad, and then we'll get into some news. We've got plenty of news to discuss. So yeah, we'll discuss. I'll play this first.
To never miss a second, never miss an upload, never miss anything I do, and never miss when I go live doing Watch Voices and my brand new podcast live Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. The Reigning Rock Podcast. Add me on Facebook, Ricky J. Pate. Whilst there, search on Facebook WWA World Wrestling Alliance. Follow me on X at Ricky Goldmans. Head over to Pro Wrestling Tees and search Goldmans1 and head over to my YouTube channel. Search, like and subscribe to the People's Wrestling Channel. That once again, the People's Wrestling Channel.
That is right. All my socials, and they follow me, do all of that. And of course, podcast no longer on a Wednesday, but it's still watch it. Saturdays and Sundays, depending if I'm at a show or if there's a pay-per-view like next week. So, there's, like I said, plenty of news to talk about. So let's get into it. News and headlines. So we'll start with unfortunate news. The other half of the Wild Samoas, let's acknowledge him. Aether passed away at the age of 81, so great age. But yeah, the uncle of Roman Reigns has died. Your thoughts on that, Mark?
It's sad to see. I mean, listen, death is a sad thing. He lived his life fully. If any of you watched Smacky D's this past Friday, they did a great commemoration to him. And one of the big things was that he loved wrestling, but he also loved the youth. He loved keeping the youth out of trouble. A lot of the Samoans that we see or have seen on TV have him to credit. Him and his brother's wrestling school to credit for keeping them out of trouble. and and giving them an outlet, a place to do homework, but also a place to train for a profession that has been in their family for generations upon generations.
And poor Reigns doesn't have he has zero luck. His brother, his father, now his uncle. Speaking of, well, not death, but bad health, it depends what you read. Linda McMahon says this person is at death's door, apparently. His lawyer says he's not, so we'll just say that he is. Vince, despite his personal life, yes, he was a weird, crazy guy, but when it comes to wrestling, genius. If it wasn't for Vince, I would not be watching most people won't be watching WWE today. So I wish no bad health on him, but I'm not shocked because he got nothing to keep him going. So, and he's in 80, he's nearly 80. So, your thoughts on if Vince is in bad health? Your thoughts on it?
I hope he's not. Like you said, he can be weird. He's a weird guy. I mean, even how his humor and stuff is a little different. Of course, no one wants to talk about, obviously the bad stuff are bad stuff, right? Like, no, come on now. But I think also no one wishes death upon anyone. Vince, you alluded to it, but I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. So I read a book about the death of the territories. Right. And I know when we usually talk about the territory days, we talk about how Vince destroyed it. Now, I'm going to take a different term with this. He helped wrestlers get more money at the end of the day. Contracts. Because back in the day, for those of you that may be too young, I would also suggest that y'all pick up the Death of the Territories book. Of the Wrestling Territories book. It's a really good read, Ricky. I think you would love that book. Wrestlers used to just do handshake deals.
A handshake and a hot dog.
You come in, I pay you this much. That's it. There was no contract. If you didn't show up, you whatever, you didn't show up. But the contracts made people accountable. TV deals, Vince was ahead of his time with a lot of stuff. He was doing TV deals because when the WWF, was in town, it was only a Northeast regional thing that would play from as far deep down as Baltimore, I believe, to as high up as Maine. Right? It didn't have too big of a reach. Once Vince McMahon Jr. got his hand on it, it became a global phenomenon. And I think a lot of people don't understand how much we have to credit Vince for what we see, not just what we see on TV, but how it's seen, right? He's the one that came up with the idea of supercards, right? WrestleMania, what came after WrestleMania, then that's when everyone else is like, oh shit, we got to start doing our own thing. That's when Starrcade came. That's when all the other promotions decided we need something similar. Vince was so ahead of his time with a lot of the forward-thinking ideas that he had, even incorporating pop culture into wrestling, right? During the rock and wrestling era, involving music. And then, in the 90s, all of us Attitude Era kids, we remember how those sounds, if we hear a soundtrack, if we hear a certain song, we know it was that wrestler. So even WWE created its own music label to give the wrestlers their own music, so they won't be using music from, they got to pay copyrights and all this other stuff. So if Vince is in bad health, darn, and I don't think the wrestling world is prepared for that day. We was prepared for the day for him to step away from WWE. We're not. The wrestling world is not prepared for the day of his possible death. The wrestling world's not ready. I feel like,
and
yeah.
you'll have some horrible, evil people online saying, "Oh, thank God he's dead, deserved it." To leave his personal weird, and then he's okay if his personal life is super weird, but still.
You should never wish death upon anybody.
A certain WWE Hall of Famer, a certain dead man now, maybe he probably just said this for headlines, because guess what? We're talking about it. And where did he say it? On Logan Paul's podcast. He knew if he said it there, it would get people talking. If he said it in his own podcast, people were like, he wants to wrestle another match. So, because this just proves they've created no stars. After Cena, your star was, you could say, Reigns. Maybe. Would Reigns be one of those guys? He went out on the street and said to a random person, name your wrestler, would they mention Reigns? He might do.
Maybe.
But so that means they created no stars since Cena. If he wins, he's going to want more than one match. So he comes back to lose to Logan. Would you want The Undertaker back, or do you think he said it just purely for headlines?
So who was it? Because you kind of cut out when you said
he was on Logan Paul's on Logan Paul's podcast. He said it.
Who was on Logan Paul's podcast?
Undertaker, the Undertaker.
Okay. So, no, Mark, stay away. No more matches for Mark Calloway. We love you, Mark. Do the podcast thing. Do the one-man show. Don't get back in the ring. That time is up. Not to use John Cena's lyrics against Undertaker, but your time is up. Stop. But you got to understand why he's like that. He did the same career for 30 plus years. Surgeries after surgery after surgery. The man, you got to also remember, he was Vince's most loyal soldier during the Monday Night Wars. This business is why he's as famous as he is now. Something that a lot of people don't forget to mention. He was the leader of the SmackDown locker room. Remember all those years when he will always be drafted to SmackDown. He was never drafted to Raw. I loved watching. That was the one constant I will always have: The Undertaker on Smacky D's, and The Undertaker helping these characters that he would go up against, give them make them valid. JBL, right? King Booker, making him valid, and there's numerous other people that I can name off that The Undertaker has done an absolute great service for. But in this day and age, he will be doing someone a disservice if he got into an actual match in the ring. His cameos, the cameos that he does in the ring are welcome, right? Like when Braun Breaker did that, when he had that thing with Braun Breaker, that actually made Braun Breaker look a little bit more over. When he helped out Cody at WrestleMania, it was a welcome surprise. Don't get back in the ring. Sit the fuck down. It's done. Please don't. I'm scared. Don't do that. Don't be Ric Flair.
Oh no. Ugh. I'm guessing he said it just for headline, because if he said it on his own podcast, people would talk about it. But it's Logan Paul, who has millions of fans. So I'm hoping it was just purely for that. But then it would not shock me if they do Taker Logan in Saudi and Logan wins.
And Logan wouldn't even need that one.
Because of what's next for Logan? They're going to do a rematch for the US title? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be bullshit.
Speaking of people retired, well, Undertaker's retired. If you watched documentary, W Legends documentary, Becky Lynch looks to be done. So if she is, your thoughts?
I think she is. I think she's done. What a wrestling career. I'm not the biggest Becky Lynch fan. I will tell you that to my heart's content. When she came back as the man, when she rock bottomed Bianca at SummerSlam, it was weird. I was like, and she was a heel. I was like, get the fuck out of here, Bex. Becky's a better face than heel. The man character changed her life. And mind you, that man character literally was an accident. Total accident. It was a botched punch in the face by Nia Jax that created the man. That character is what made Becky Lynch one of the most over female performers in WWE history. If she retires, what an amazing career. Going from quitting wrestling to going back into wrestling to being the least talked about member of the Four Horsewomen to then be inside, then making that stable with involving Paige and Charlotte. All the good work she did, I know, but all the good work that she did with Charlotte, with Monet / Sasha Banks, with she never really had a program with Bayley, so. But all the good things, and she helped create some stars, right? She's won every women's title in WWE. Tag team. Wait, did she win tag team?
Tag team, all of them. NXT.
Tag team, NXT, SmackDown, Raw. She did the Rumble. She did everything that she wanted to do, and I think right now. She has a title. She currently holds a title that's even bigger than all those WWE championships, and that's the title of Mother. That's what she really wants to do. The reason why she would be retiring, it isn't because of her body. It isn't because she can't go. It's because she wants to be a mom. She wants to be at home with her daughter all the time, and I have nothing but respect for that because. I can imagine how hard it is to travel with a baby. And who says that she can't get back into the ring when the baby is a little bit older, right? I mean, we see Maurice do it. It might be one-offs, but Maurice has done it. Beth Phoenix has done it. And I'm sure there's, Trish Stratus has done it. And then there's plenty of other female superstars that aren't in the WWE who have had children, taken a break, taken some time away from the ring. Train a little, they train, and next thing you know, they're back in ring shape and ready to go. So if Bex decides to hang it up, what a hell of a career. And as soon as she retires, she's automatically getting to the WWE Hall of Fame.
And very quickly, speaking of Maurice, Miz is kind of like the luckiest guy ever. super, super, super lucky. How did he get her?
He shot his shot. He was confident.
Speaking of women, apparently, I know you don't watch Speed, but apparently Speed will get a women's championship on Speed, which I think so. I like it. If you're going to give like Meech a title, why not? Or give somebody like who, Zelina a title, why not? I can't think of anybody else that really is just there and isn't going to push. But Shayna, I give it to Shayna, actually. If Shayna is legit, if wrestling's meant to be real, Shayna should be 10 million time women's champion. But she's won nothing except for tag team. So I like it. Your thoughts?
I believe in equal opportunities. So I love that Speed would do that. It would give an equal opportunity to whoever is to the women that want to do Speed. And it gives you more ring time. It gives you more it's not TV time, but it still gives you it gives you more time to be in front of cameras, right? Because we have to remember how important that is, right? Because, we might, the viewership for things like Main Event, Speed, Level Up aren't as high as the TV shows, obviously, but it's ring time for those people that might be inside of a dark match. It's TV time for people that wouldn't be having a TV match. And that's a part of the whole paying your dues process in WWE. You're not going to be on TV all the time. You might be just for streaming services. You might only be on streaming services. You might just be in front of those crowds in a dark match or a dark segment. Not everything's going to be on there until you're ready, until your lights, camera, action ready. So
I think Speed gets about each one gets about 1.5 million views, which is insane for a 3-minute match. Like, WWE are on fire. Let's go to a company that isn't. So All In.
Oh yeah, year, I knew you was gonna do that.
We'll be in Texas, and
I'm making some water while you go ahead and rail down AEW.
And people think that it's great. They think it's a great idea. I don't think it is. I think it's like they're taking it away and they're coming back in 2026. So they'll hope for a bigger crowd. Because if they did it again next year, they wouldn't draw. They aren't drawing this year. Their 50,000 is a lot, but they're selling 20,000 less. So if they did it next year, another 20,000 less. The year after, there'd be nobody there. So
AEW. Okay. They're going to try to do All In Texas. I don't know. I don't know if they're ready for that yet. I can't say. I don't think they're ready. And that leads into more AEW news, right? Like what QT Marshall said.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. But first of all, there is backstage concern about popularity and attendance. Yeah. What a shocker. I'm totally shocked. Like, ugh. And I don't think they can do anything about it. If they try and change their product and get rid of the hardcore stuff, they lose that crowd. So I think they're just stuck with the crowd they've got, and it's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And yes, QT Marshall, who works backstage for the company, buried their fans by calling them weird, timid, loser marks. I haven't got any friends.
Yeah, so
burying their only fans they've got. Like, he can't say that.
So this is what I'm gonna say. QT needs to shut the fuck up. Right? Way to be a company guy by literally burying your company and the fans. Because calling the fans friendless losers is not a good thing to do. That's one. Two, so this is AEW is becoming a regional, and that's still being complimentary saying that. They're truly becoming what WCW was. Right? In my mind, right? They losing viewership. Because honestly, WWE, that includes NXT, is on fire. It's on fire with all the content it has and everything. WWE is on fire. AEW had its moment in the sun. You know who else had their moment in the sun? WCW. One thing that we've all learned is, because remember, AEW at a point in time really was competing with NXT. It really was doing a good job, right? And then it started getting its ass kicked by NXT. That's why they took it off the same day. Actually NXT moved their days, but that's because They needed that TV slot from USA. USA had nothing going on Tuesdays, and they was fine with that. AEW, and also it's smart because why would I split viewership with you guys? That doesn't make sense. AEW is becoming more territorial. It's becoming a territory. It's only really good with that Florida crowd, right? When they're at Daly's place, that's probably the most crowd they get. Which it's not good to say that. And they lost, some of their more high profile people. They lost Ethan Page. Right? They lost Cody Rhodes. Right? And the other stuff, and I said this to y'all before. I said it here before. When we look at people like the Young Bucks, right? Where did the Young Bucks really get their fame from? It wasn't in America. It was from their work in Japan. Right? So for a company like AEW, it's hard to get the casuals to watch the product because they're looking at the product and they're going like, who the fuck are these guys? Right? If they ain't come from WWE, who are they? It's a hard question to answer because, like I said, the Young Bucks had most of their fame in Japan. Kenny Omega had pretty much all his damn fame in Japan. The Elite in general had most of their stuff in Japan. I would say, to be honest with you, most WWE fans don't watch NJPW. Don't care for it. And you're definitely not getting casuals to watch AEW.
Yeah, if you have a casual watch, for example, Darby Allin going through glass or Darby Allin hanging upside down and being kicked in the head by someone with spikes on the shoes, they're going to go, what is this? Yeah. And never watch again. Ever. And just think, ugh.
The only thing that might bring a casual or someone that had watched wrestling in the past, they'd be like, oh, Sting. They'd be like, yeah, Sting's still wrestling. Sting's still wrestle? What the hell? I have to see. Right? They got to turn the channel just to be like, yo, Sting was wrestling here? What the hell's wrong? What? Isn't Sting like old? And it's like, yeah, Sting old, bro. And he was wrestling. Right? Or you mentioned Chris Jericho. They're like, wait, Chris Jericho is still wrestling? It's like, yeah. Where? AEW. What? Turn it on. Right? You're watching to see the disbelief. I'm not saying there's like, and here's the thing about AEW that was interesting, right? So I always tell people, I say it like this. There's three companies, right? There's WWE, TNA, AEW. Now, WWE had like a closed door policy, right? As a WWE talent, you can't go off somewhere else and do other shows. Right? That wasn't allowed for a long time. Triple H had just allowed that to happen for real. In TNA, you could do that. TNA, it was like, nah, go ahead to Japan. You can hang out in Japan for weeks at a time. Right? Other promotions before those promotions used to do that. ECW used to do that, tell people like, yo, go over to Japan. WCW, like, go ahead to Japan. Go ahead to AAA, whatever. Go ahead and do your thing. We'll book you there and this and the third. AEW was like, hey, we're going to bring some of those guys that was famous in Japan over here. Right? I always tell people AEW started off with the superstars that only marks know. With the exception of like Chris Jericho and Cody. Right? So I remember when I was like, oh, Jericho wrestling AEW? Okay. They got a big name. Jericho's that big name. He's that big face. He wanted more freedom. The Young Bucks. I remember seeing it. I was like, who the fuck are they? And there's like, and I remember someone who's a mark was sitting next to me. He was like, you don't know the Young Bucks? I'm like, did they wrestle in TNA? He was like, nah. I'm like, then I don't know who the fuck they are. And
yes.
I will only hear about the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega through What Culture Wrestling with the list, or Cultaholic, with their list, and whoever else had wrestling content with list, right? Like, I remember being like, "Who's Kenny Omega?" And someone was like, "You don't know who Kenny Omega is?" I'm like, "No." I don't know who the Rainmaker was. I didn't know who none of these people were, because I live in the United States of America and I watch WWE. And I used to watch TNA when it had a TV deal. Well, at least when it was on Spike TV and then Destination America and whatever not. I would watch them. I'm not watching Japanese. I'm not watching Japan. Right? Kenny Omega, for what I know, was the most over dude in the world. At least in their world, or on the indie scene. I like the name of his finisher, the One Wing Angel. I love that name. I think this is a cool finisher too. I hate the V trigger. He literally does it like a billion times in a match. It's annoying to watch. And I was watching, and mind you, I only know of it because of what I saw from AEW. During the pandemic and a little bit after the pandemic was starting to wean away. Every other move was a damn V trigger. And AEW didn't build stars. It didn't do a good job of building stars. They tried building Ricky Starks. I tell you this, they did a good job with Brody Lee. Rest in peace, Brody Lee. Cody and Brody Lee did an awesome job. Jericho did an awesome job helping build Orange Cassidy. Right? Because no one knew who Orange Cassidy was. And Jericho was just so annoyed that there's this super casual, laid-back dude who puts in zero effort, and yet he's over like Rover. Couldn't stand it. AEW, it's become regional. They literally are WCW. They have the inmates running the asylum. Because if I was TK, I would absolutely have fined QT Marshall.
I would have fired him. Oh, that's me.
Actually, no, to be honest with you, I would have fired him because, how dare you talk to our fan base this way?
I would have made him go out publicly, all no Dynamite, apologize to the fans. Yes. Apologize to the fans on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and then fired him. But guess what Tony Khan's going to do? Nothing. Because he's not a boss. He wants to be everybody's friend, and he's a mark as well, so...
He's Eric Bischoff, but worse. You know how Eric Bischoff was super buddy with Hogan and Nash and Hall? He's that, but worse. Because he wants to be buddy with everybody. He doesn't want to put his foot down when he needs to. And that's what's going to cause the asylum to be ran by the inmates. You don't want that. You're not supposed to have that. Once again, this goes back to what we were saying about Vince. Vince is a weird dude, and what he did outside of the wrestling atmosphere is inappropriate and unacceptable. But the man at least was not a damn pushover.
Not at all.
That's why motherfuckers left. Half the motherfuckers would leave WWE because they was like, Vince is too strict. But you need that. You need a stable work environment. Hell, Vince Russo learned that lesson too. Vince Russo wanted to do some stupid shit. Guess who allowed him to do that stupid shit? WCW did.
Oh, I did, yes. And TNA.
And TNA. Right? Both out of control work environments. There was no one above Russo. Guess who was above Russo in WWE? Vince. Vince could tell Russo, that's a stupid fucking idea. We're not doing it. Or we're gonna tweak your idea. In WCW, we had Judy Bagwell on a fucking forklift.
Everything had a pole.
We had Viagra on a pole.
So hang on, the
fucking coal miner, the mystery box fucking match on the pole.
But quickly, 1 second, Roxy, good go. Quickly going back to AEW, you all right? Yeah, it's catered to hardcore and marks. If a casual fan turns on and go, who's MGF? Who's the Young Bucks? Who's Orange Cassidy? Who's Kenny Omega? Who is most of the roster outside of former WWE?
Yep.
They're so small, and it's like you're never going to stumble over AEW. WWE's everywhere on every single day. Raw, NXT, Speed, main event on Thursdays, SmackDown. Look at next week. They've got 2 pay. They're on every day next week. They're all over X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. They've took over the world.
They're everywhere.
AEW's like non-existent. It's like, I never see an interview at all or a podcast or anything. People talking about AEW because they don't want to talk because it's boring. There's no news going on unless it's QT Marshall booing the fans or a low attendance. Ugh.
I'm sad for AEW.
Such a small audience, tiny audience of these weirdo fans that like Darby Allin crashing through glass. And he loved it. Like, he could have died. He put the fans in danger. The match didn't need that. It was all about Sting. But the fans loved it. Like, no.
Well, like
who were they catering to?
Marks. We just said it, right? Remember, AEW is not for the casuals. They don't reel those in. It's for the hardcore fans.
I'm a hardcore fan. I've been watching for 20. I live and breathe wrestling. I've got 2 rooms full of wrestling stuff. Same tattoos as a Rock. The list goes on.
Right.
But I just when I saw it, I just thought, what a load of crap. And then Darby Allin hanging upside down, who should have been in the hospital bed, who'd just been in an accident and kicked in the face with spikes. Like, who's watching this? Who are they actually catering to? Like, a tiny audience that
like this. And here's the other thing about it, Ricky. They roster too damn big.
Also, as I mentioned earlier, you've got Swerve Strickland, the world champion, on Collision. So how does he feel important? You don't see Cody, okay, as much as I dislike Cody, you don't see Cody on main event or on...
No.
Right, WWE have small, really small shows. Main event and Speed, I suppose, that's it. But, yeah, you don't see Cody Rhodes on main event because that would make so deep. The title means nothing then.
It's called desperation.
Swerve Strickland's on Collision. It gets like 200,000 views. Like, just what are they doing?
It's called desperation. You're desperate to try anything to get people to watch the product. But here's the sad thing about it. People are already tuned out. People aren't watching. Like, listen, Swerve has a great entrance. He's a good performer. But the product isn't going well with him. It's hard for him to carry that product.
To show how much the company thinks nothing of him, I will say the Dynasty was good. He won the title, and the following Dynamite was all about Tony Khan taking a bump for the Young Bucks. Like, forget Swerve Strickland, though, the first ever black champion. Who cares? It's all about Tony Khan taking some bump, involving himself. He should be backstage running the show and should be like a Vince, very rarely seen.
Well, hold on. Don't say like Vince, because Vince used to get involved.
But not like Tony Khan. I think Tony Khan has slowed down a bit, but he used to be every week involving himself all over the show. Like,
that was Vince at a time. You have to remember the Attitude Era.
But Vince was heel. Tony Khan's... I don't know what Tony Khan is. Does he...
It's supposed to be babyface.
Got a character, but...
Khan is supposed to be babyface.
And And then he goes on was it Fox? And I don't know what it was, but it was draft day for the NFL. Like some Mark wearing a neck brace as if wrestling is real.
Kayfabe. That was for kayfabe.
And then the reporters just laughed at him, going, they openly laughed, going, he's just been in some spot on his wrestling show. What a goof. And as a start, that's what they think of him. That's what the world thinks of Tony Khan.
AEW is going through a hard time because wrestling is on fire, but they're the only ones that's stuck in the iceberg. That's the problem. TNA is on fire. WWE is on fire. GCW has some momentum. I would even say NWA is catching some momentum. Right?
And I've said this before, I'll say it again. I'm not just WWE. I've been to TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan, I'll count GCW, countless indie shows. I should want more wrestling. AEW leaves me with I never want to watch this ever again. The pay-per-views are decent, but I don't think, I want to watch Dynamite. I think, no. After 6-7 hours of marathon matches, ugh. They're all right, the pay-per-views are all right, but
that's the other thing too, though, Ricky. I think, right, and I agree with you, right? Like sadly, I would say I'm not at the level that you are, right? Like I haven't, I think I'm going to buy tickets for the NWA show that's coming to Philly, NWA 75, I think that's what they call it, or 76. I think I really want to go.
76 years, so they're out. They've gone longer than WWE. That's incredible.
Let me see if that's
and NWA put on some good shows. I think what's he called? Trevor Murdoch wrestles for them, I think.
Yeah, 76. It'll be 76. Trevor Murdoch, EC3.
He's a champion, isn't he? There, I think.
Yeah, he's the world champ.
But very quickly, I know you were going to say something, but very quickly, with WWE, I never watched a Raw. In 25 years, I've never watched a Raw and SmackDown and thought, I never want to watch that again. Never been to a show and thought, I never want to go there again. I want more and more and more and more and more. Give me more.
Right. And I think that's what it is, right? Like, same here, right? Like, but that's the thing, right? So I haven't been into as many shows as you. Like, my first show was a WCW show that my dad took me to back in like 98, 99, right? I've been to a house show in Indiana, Pennsylvania, which is on the other side of the state of Pennsylvania, when I was out in graduate school there. I've been to Elimination Chamber when it was here in Philly. I plan on I hope I could get to Raw. I think it's either in September or October when it's in Philly. I'm thinking about going to the NWA show that's coming up in what month is that? That's coming at the end of this month on Saturday, on August 31st. Wrestling, there's a lot of wrestling content out there, right? WWE has it going on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on X. If I don't know what day main event comes on, but probably Thursday.
Thursdays, I think. So every day, every single day.
Friday, except weekends, and that's not that, and that's if they don't have a pay-per-view, right? AEW has found their way inside that world, right? But there is a such thing as too much wrestling content for some people. But the thing is, at least with WWE, you know the brand. If I know this brand, I know what I'm getting from this brand, which is some good ass wrestling. If I'm watching AEW, there's a 9 out of 10 chance I don't know what the hell I'm about to get. Even TNA, I know what I'm getting. I have an inkling, a thought of what I'm getting with TNA. TNA, I probably see someone that I've seen before on TNA. AEW is the same thing, but also AEW's roster is so big. This is why I call them WCW 2.0, because they're having the same problems. Huge roster, which they don't need. You don't need this big of a roster. Not every single person that leaves WWE, you got to hop on and sign. You could wait. You don't have to sign them. You signed them because you want to be in competition. But you're not at the level that WWE is. I feel bad for AEW because they did so much so fast, and now they're about to fizzle out. It sucks. Because you want to see more companies.
In 2009, you had Chris Jericho, Bret Hart, and the debut of Moxley, and I thought, oof, this is competition. WWE were okay back then. I thought this was going to kick them up the ass to get better. I thought this is competition for WWE. Now, hell no, not at all. It's not even competition for NXT, the developmental brand.
Because AEW is a glorified indie show. It's a glorified indie. No offense to the indies, but it's a glorified indie. Because their wrestlers could come and leave as they wish. They are contractually obligated to AEW, but they can come and go as they want to. Unlike WWE, which is closed door for the most part. You can't just come and go as you wish. You could only go with and at that time, WWE didn't have partners. Now they do, but only with TNA, and that's only with NXT, the brand. You can't just wander all over the place. You can't just show up in Mexico all of a sudden one day. Who did you tell? Right? AEW could be like, yo, I just came back from Mexico. Oh, cool. Thumbs up. Huh? Ain't no one here to tell me I should never have went? Nah. Go ahead, man. WWE, and it'd be like, yo, hey, did you tell Sean? Did you tell Triple H? It's like, no. You're fired.
Very quickly before we finish up, the Forbidden Door thing. Here in the UK, you'll have companies working together all the time. AEW working with New Japan is just called, well, I would say good business, but they don't know good business. But let's help for this, as I say, called good business. It's called two big companies. AEW is big just for this argument, but just for this one, is working together. There is no Forbidden Door. There never has been a Forbidden Door. Like, oh look, Japanese wrestler we've never heard of is turned up in AEW. Who cares? That's not going to bring in the ratings. Nobody knows who they are.
No, not at all. NXT has perfected the Forbidden Door thing. Like TNA with WWE has perfected the Forbidden Door because look at what Jordan Grace did at the Royal Rumble. Right? Look at what Naomi at that time was a TNA star. She wasn't WWE yet. Like, dog, when Jordan Grace's music came on, I popped so hard for the Royal Rumble. When Naomi's music hit, I popped so hard. Right? I was hoping there was some surprise appearances for the men. Right?
You got Andrade as well, so that's it.
Well, I ain't popped that hard for Andrade. He wasn't doing shit in AEW at the time.
Exactly.
Right?
I'll take another minute or so and then we'll finish up. But you've had like Andrade, Rusev, Miro, the Hardys, Rick. Okay. Ric Flair couldn't do much, but his manager. As much as again, Cody, he's still talented, whether I like him or not, talented. Ethan Page, Sean Spears, the list goes on and on and on. They did Hardys, they did nothing. How hard is it to find something to do for the Hardys? Why couldn't they have had a push and won the tag team titles? How big would that have been for the company? But nothing. They job out on Collision. Yeah, because Tony Khan's and Mark now are just going to continue worse and worse and worse and worse. And they think they're going to write. I don't think they're going to be. And they want to do an Australia show. Damn. There'd be like 2 people there.
You know who else did the Australia show when they were suffering? WCW. Sorry, folks. Sorry that we had the. Our bad, folks.
We're suffering, but we'll go to.
Sorry, folks. We hit the rail on AEW real quick. Our bad.
I'll just close my closing thoughts. We're suffering. Our attendance is down the toilet, and so is our ratings. But guess what? We'll go to Australia, do a stadium show with the car home. But 50, 70, 80,000 people in Australia. No. How long did it take for WB to go to Australia? Years and years, but anyway, join us next Saturday. Hopefully, TJ's feeling a lot better. Hopefully, also Romy, Marquis can join us, and Sam will be joining us, who does the voiceover for Wrestling Roundup. He'll be back on for 1 week, so. Should be a good episode, and probably get everybody's Bash at Berlin predictions. Hopefully, more matches will be made by then. But your closing thoughts, Marcus, are
good show today. I know people might be a little thrown off because we're not on Wednesdays. We decided to, be better to AEW and change the day of the week that we're coming on. And I hope you guys tuned in and enjoyed the show.
And a big interview. And I just need that catchphrase. Out to you, Marcus. What is it again? To say it one more time.
Mine or yours?
Yours.
Oh, ching, ching, bling, bling. There's always money overhead.
That is right. And game excellence is the name. And I am Ricky Gullman. Always remember, like, subscribe, acknowledge, and electrify. See you guys on Saturday.